Okay, it is 6:10 p.m. on January the 16th. This is a Thursday. I'd like to call this meeting officially to order. My apologies again for the late starts. And with that in mind, let's start as we normally do with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now a moment of silence as we consider and think about those who have gone before us. Thank you. Okay, I'll do a quick, actually Denise, since you're stepping in for clerk duties here, can you please do a roll call?
Yes. Mayor Allen.
Present.
Trustee Shetting.
He is going to be late, but he'll be here, he's not here yet.
And Trustee Alter, late.
Same.
Deputy Mayor Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Sauer.
Here.
Trustee Hanselman.
Here.
Who am I missing?
We are down our village attorney who has been under the weather for about a
Megan's
week.
not here.
And Trustee Walry is also not here. One of the side effects of working in the school system is we get everything. Alright, so a couple quick announcements. The village election is Tuesday, March 18th. It is from noon to 9 at Village Hall. The following seats will be up: the mayor term, which is a 2-year term. Hey Deb. And 3 trustee seats, which are 2-year terms. And the dates, as I put on the agenda last time and this time again, the time for individuals or groups to gather independent nominating petitions and gather signatures has begun. The first day you can drop them off and file them in the village office is Tuesday, February 4th. The final day is February 11th. And I did put on the agenda, please note that it needs to be in the village office hands by close of business, which is 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday, February 11th. Also, I am formally announcing, and I'm going to do this on a video that I had hoped to already have online tonight, but the agenda needed to get done first. I am formally announcing that I am not seeking re-election. It has been a pleasure and an honor to serve and work on some really, really important things and be surrounded by some amazing and really wonderful people for 8 years, but I've decided that I'm going to try to regain some balance in my life. And I am, as you'll see in the video that I'll put out later this evening, I'm very committed to getting things done and handing things off to whoever the next mayor may be. So, did want to put that out there. So this meeting's format is a little bit different, especially in light of the fact that there is going to be a transition in about 2.5 months. So I really wanted to front load the meeting with a lot of project updates so that they're on the record and official. And there's probably a couple other ones that I should have included, like Bobby and the streetlights. I don't think there was anything major.
No, actually, I brought it. I know you just have to sign it.
I have to sign something. So a lot of the mayor updates are going to be project status updates, and we'll also kind of have some discussions on things as it comes up. So I'm going to plow through these. First one, the new water source, the latest updates. The village has received the engineering certificate of completion. It was delivered to the state and to the village. We've also gotten the operating and maintenance manuals and warranties, and our water guys, our engineer and attorneys are reviewing those right now. And the things that we expect over the next 2 months are the dedication, which is the transfer of the infrastructure and the lands to the village, final approval of the various tests and sampling that will come from the state, and eventually the new water source is going to be coming online.
That's soon, right?
Yeah. I'm hoping in the next 4 to 5 weeks. I'm thinking sometime in February. There's a few things that have to happen in that meantime, but I think it's safe to say that by the end of February we will be online with our new water source, and that is unbelievably wonderful. Second, the former Oak Mitsui site at 91st Street, the village has taken title to the property. As we've discussed in previous meetings, we brought on SLR Consulting to come up with some a plan for this. I have on the screen for you a sort of basic initial concept design. They wanted to stress that this was quite basic and preliminary. There's a lot more discussions, detail work. We're trying to get the full CAD file, but they have 2 concepts, and I wanted to just kind of show it to you guys and get some feedback. The first version seems to feature parking on the edge of First Street here. I'm going to zoom in. A slightly restructured parking lot is what their concept is. A nice entryway over here, and then having, it's really hard to see the key, but if there's the hope for an open pavilion, that would be over here. A sidewalk going through the middle, which would lead to, hopefully through New York Forward, the bridge access to the Greenway.
Would that be a concrete sidewalk?
Likely yes, yeah.
Easy maintenance?
Yeah, I mean, this is just kind of initial starting
Right.
points. This hasn't even fully been through the environmental side to see what things would
Okay,
have
so
to
it's,
change,
yeah,
but
okay, it's just a sketch.
yeah. And just to kind of show some of the items on the side that they have as just ideas at this point. We have the newly paved parking lot, landscape island with rain garden for stormwater management, crosswalk, paved street parking, bollards, brick paved plaza with central sculptures and seats, so that'd be kind of like right in the opening spot. A storage shed, yes. Existing trees that will remain, a pavilion, lawn area with picnic tables, playgrounds, gravel, paved trail. Oh, this okay, gravel or paved
so
trail
it's
throughout the
gravel,
park.
okay.
And again, this is all preliminary since it's just ideas, concepts. The pedestrian bridge to the Greenway is something we're pursuing as part of New York Forward. Open lawn area, meadow area, birdhouse, native shade trees, concrete sidewalk, native flowering, decorative steel picket fence along the property frontage. That would be the same kind of fencing that would
Do it on Main
match
Street?
Main Street, the
Yeah,
parking
it's
lot
nice.
over by the
It's nice.
Greenway. Yep, we talked about that. Was a good thing. Additional trail connection to the Greenway, which could require some additional
So-
steps.
Question, Rob, do
Sure.
we have to, keep, okay, so other than the frontage of the fencing, do we have to maintain fencing on the property?
There is fencing along here, which I think we
It's all the way around it right now.
up here along the blocks off from the train. I don't even think we own that. I think that's the railways, but also it's shows that it's the railways because the condition is pretty rough in some spots.
Yeah, call them up and ask them to fix it.
But on the,
Ah.
but
This
on
side,
on the Greenway side is all 8-foot fence.
I don't know,
I
and
think
it
it's-
probably has to do with the levy.
I think it's 6-foot fence.
There's
but
6
I
on the
think
thing,
it
okay.
should remain, whether we choose to do new or not. It's an awful steep hill, you know.
Yes.
Kids, you know, get down in there.
I'm sure our insurance people would tell us to fence it.
Yeah, I just didn't know because aesthetically, you know,
It's
it-
ugly
it's
fence.
ugly.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's not in the best of shape, it's ugly.
Right.
Well,
It
we-
may need to be replaced,
Yeah, but a pretty one.
with a nicer track.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we're working on a design. This was kind of the early starting point. Let me show you the second version.
Just-
Yeah,
Did they have water? Drinking water or
Bless you.
on that at all?
like if they're gonna pipe in water,
Yeah, there's no.
it
water.
would just be to the pavilion. Is really
Okay, the
wherever the
pavilion,
pavilion
yeah.
ends up. That's where they're thinking of doing it. Yeah.
Pavilion or the entryway?
Both. I mean, possibly, but I
Okay.
mean, it's gonna be the hookups are right here,
Oh, okay.
sewer and water. So
Okay.
they would naturally have to do something this way anyway.
Okay.
The second concept idea has a traffic circle in the beginning, a lot more parking on this side. Gazebo over here, this is probably the storage shed over here, this is kind of a playground, and the access, which this is actually where I thought the bridge would probably work the best for the greenways over here. Very different concept, still has a fair amount of open space, but has a little bit sort of a tighter fit, more parking.
And those things that are planted there, those trees, that's okay to do that?
In theory, yes, but it has to go through the environmental folks, and they'll be able to say, these are the types of trees you have to have, these are the locations you can't
So I
have.
imagine
Yeah.
they pick
Well,
out like
yeah,
trees that don't have deep roots or something.
We'll have
Yes,
to have a shallow root system.
yes.
very
That's
shallow,
all-
right,
all-
cause there's
Concrete.
concrete
Yeah.
underneath there.
Yep,
Palm trees.
so,
Pine
general
trees.
thoughts, as an example,
Well, I think there's too many
I don't know where
trees.
my brain is.
too many trees in this one?
Too many trees, that's a lot of work for somebody, for our highway people to maintain that. If-
Yeah.
The more trees, the more work.
I like the
I
grand
like
entrance on the
green
other.
space.
I agree, I like more grass than I do
Okay.
trees.
So,
That's my 2 cents.
I don't, Doug
I don't
brought
like
up
that parking either.
the extra parking is not necessary, the extra upkeep, the extra cost, none of that's necessary, I totally agree with that. So I think we're more liking this type of
Yeah, yeah.
area.
Open to these.
So we'll have to figure out too, if we're gonna keep that open throughout the winter and maintain, we're gonna have to go in and shovel the sidewalks
Yeah.
or plow the, you know.
Well, and it also said gravel or
Or-
paved,
oh,
so,
yeah.
so you could, you know, if it's not
We
paved,
could go in there with a snow blower.
right,
Yeah.
but, right,
If
I'm not
it's
sure.
gravel, we're gonna have to shovel.
Right.
What's that number 11?
And
that's like where,
Playground pocket areas. Okay, so these 11 here
oh, up there,
and
it's up
here
there,
are
yeah.
playground
I got
pocket
you.
areas in theory. I like the wide open area more on this one. I love this
I love that.
entry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's fantastic. I know we had talked about putting parking here additionally, which I think is a fantastic idea, and I think there's room for it. I'm not. There's something on here I wasn't as big a fan on. I can't remember what it was.
The bridge location?
Yeah, the bridge location was a little weird over here.
Oh, see,
Um,
that's, I
oh.
thought that where it would've
The other
been,
thing
in the
too
middle,
is-
that's where I thought it would've been.
if we're going to have like a pavilion with water and sewer, we have to have it off the cap.
I think it needs to be on this side over here
It
somewhere.
has to be off the cap in the old
Yes.
parking lot, so
What,
Yep.
what it has to
we
be?
can get
Off
it
the
with water
cap.
sewer.
Where they dug the dirt, it can't be on the
Right.
dug up part.
And it looks like the other picture you showed us, all the parking would be on top of that infrastructure, on top of the sewer. and the-
Yeah, I didn't really like that
Yeah.
other one, yeah, the parking. The one thing we had talked about was the possibility of some larger scale outdoor events, whether they do like farmers markets or things like that. And they had talked about trying to leave a lot of this space over here empty so people could set up things like that. I'd love something like that
Yeah,
here.
well, down the road, I can really see, like the tractor show,
Yeah.
tractor and agri, that been
Yeah.
expanding, so it's,
Oh, yeah,
so it's in Wood Park and the rest of it's over here, it's really big. And I mean, I have all kinds
That
of
would be-
ideas,
that
but
would
we don't
be
need them right
awesome.
now, and then people
Yeah.
would be walking or driving through the village
Right,
in order to
You
get
have
from one place to
and that's
another.
it, yeah.
okay, so general thoughts are, we love this entryway. Nervous about too many trees or too much cluster, we like the wide open space, even if it's simple, that's fine. We like the pavilion on this side, and then a lot of that's gonna be determined by the environmental folks, so,
We like wide open space, the only reason I'm concerned about the trees is because of, what's underneath.
yes,
But,
yes.
I mean, we are gonna have to have trees because global warming is real. In the summer, people need shade.
Maybe there'll be patches where there will be trees, especially up here in this area. I feel like we could have some trees there and some seats on there, so if people wanted to be in the shade, they could be, but I think a lot of this is also gonna be open. And the simpler it is and the more open it is, the
Easier it is
easier
to take
maintenance
care of.
it's gonna be.
that's what I'm thinking, I'm just thinking of
Kenny's
me.
like, yep, yep,
And then
Okay.
you can do other things with it, gives a
Sure.
shot to
yeah.
expand the playground or something like
Yes.
that,
Yes.
not dealing with trees.
I will, trustees, I'll email this out to you guys so that you can also offer some comments. I'm just gonna make some notes for myself in a moment to do that. And then we'll kinda keep things moving, but again, this is preliminary. But in talking with Michael today about this from SLR, we're still looking to try to get this wrapped up in the next maybe 2.5 months. So it's like another project we'd love to see, at least get the design to the finish, so I would expect this to become a front burner item.
So to the right of that entryway,
Uh,
it's just a steep hill right up to the track,
Right here?
yes,
Yeah, that's kind of what these sort of lines are.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's a steep
yeah.
hill,
that's a very.
be great for sledding.
That's what I was wondering.
It would be, but, yeah.
I don't wanna.
Yeah,
But you
not.
gotta go near the train tracks to go.
Yeah, it's too.
Yeah, it's too
That's
close to the tracks.
Yeah.
That's called federal yeah.
It would be a great usage, but I don't wanna promote that because of the proximity of the train and all the other headaches. Let's keep them in Wood Park doing wonderful sledding stuff. Alright, okay, so let me minimize this.
Big as emo.
And let me continue on here. Okay, not a big update, similar to last month. The 3M settlement, which is applicable for water providers, we were supposed to get that initial payment in late 2024, we're now expecting it to arrive around March or April 2025. There's no change since the last meeting, the second payment should still also come at the end of 2025, so we should be getting 2 of these payments, and over the 3 years, it's gonna be about $3 million to the village, which is really, really good news, but it's frustrating that it's not here yet, cause we have vehicles we wanna buy. Yes.
We need to buy it.
Yes, we certainly do. Alright, New York Forward update, I touched base with Matt Smith from Department of State and Ian from our consultants. The final edits to the strategic investment plan are being completed as we speak, they'll be done by early next week. Once it is done, it will be delivered to the various state agencies involved for final review and decision making, with announcements likely coming in the spring for what projects are moving forward with it. So I just want to
And
have
just to be on the record, we have no idea what they're recommending.
correct
And we won't have any idea what they recommend until the decision.
until the announcement comes. Yeah. In
So
fact,
that's it, there's nothing anybody here can do other than just wait.
we have done all the work we can. We don't even get to see the final
It's weird.
strategic investment
For an
plan.
open community process, it ends
Yeah.
up being
Yeah.
a bureaucratic process.
It's, yeah, it was a really enjoyable process to go through. Tedious at times, confusing at times, but I really liked kind of how the process worked, how people got involved. It's a good learning thing for me to go through, so I appreciate it. So again, we're basically in a holding pattern until they're announced. Last year, the capital region was the last of I think the 10 areas to be announced, and I think that was as late as May. So we have some time. All right, number 5, website development. I knew I had something I forgot to put up there. Give me 1 second. I touched base with Jeremy Moses, and as you guys can see, there's a bunch of small updates and goals that I have over the next 2 months, with the hopes that the new website is online with all the content in by March 1. That's where we're going. So he sent me a draft website to look at that basically throws all of the information in. He only populated a few pages, so we have to keep in mind that this is not fully populated, but it's enough to give you an idea of what things are going to look
Oh
like.
gosh.
Oh, got it.
I'm so sorry, it just automatically opens
If
the
I
news.
see,
before
on that
Alright.
website, I'm moving.
So,
So
this is the look.
Is
Yeah.
the issue content right now?
right now, the next step is check all the content, put in all the content. I'm gonna do a little bit more tweaking. I was able to find one thing that computer wise is a little quirky, and you can actually see it because the services isn't supposed to be down there, it's supposed to be in the top side. If I zoom out, this is the way it should look, but when you zoom in, things get a little bit off kilter, and if you adjust the page sideways, it messes up the top a little. Oh shoot, boy, that really messed it up. It messes up the top, so there's a little bit of see how the services sticks down there?
Yeah,
I gotta talk to him about adjusting that, but that's the only thing I found that's weird.
How does it look on different kinds of?
He has tested this on mobile as well, and mobile has a different look as well, but it's super functional. And I have some suggestions on that too, and I'll send this out to you
So
guys.
it won't be like our current website where you have to like.
No, it will not. No, it will not. So right now, we have the overall organization set like this, and these pages will all be populated. We have departments, pages for each. We have some general community stuff that we'll be able to put there and more populate. We have services, and there's a lot of services that people don't quite always know where to go to. Like, hey, what's the situation with leaf pickup? Well, we're gonna have a page on that. You can just find it. How does the 50/50 sidewalk program? There it's gonna be.
Should the services be next to departments, because the departments are providing the services?
We can certainly switch that. That's
Yeah,
easy.
I
That's
think
Yeah, that makes
it's
a
sense.
good suggestion. Yeah. And then of course the I want to,
Okay,
which is
good.
gonna have a whole bunch of options. We can add more to them. We can add them as they come. We can later organize this by what are the things people look for the most. I'm just gonna note websites. Switch services and community. Also, he did populate some of the news articles. So what you have is any news article that has a title and a date and that has the text, it automatically populates it to the front page. You can click on it as a clickable link, and you can see the whole thing. This is what all of the articles will sort of load and look like with the same top. And then all the information is here. If there's pictures here, links here, all of that will be there. And this will archive all of our news releases, press releases, and so on, which can be done by anybody who has the WordPress login, so it can be done in the village office. Simply just enter it and go.
Where are the photos coming from?
What's that?
The photos, where is he getting those from?
We'll give them to him.
Okay, cause I have the whole batch the ones that Vanessa did for,
Yes,
I have all of those.
I
can
think I have
Send you the
those
link.
as well from
You must,
New
you
York
probably do,
Forward.
but I know where mine are, so.
But yeah, I'll get those. The notices are a special thing, so any specific notice will show up here in order of the most recent. So if people go to the website and wanna know what the most recent notice is, it's gonna be right over here. You can click the notices themselves to get some more information. There's the notice. That was I don't remember when that was.
Last
Oh, that's last year, that's just an old notice. He just threw some old ones in here. The water side of the website is the last thing because there's so many details that I wanna kind of go over and get right and get all the files there. So yeah, this is up and now we're starting to populate it. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, with the recreation, with the park, with the town park, which is in the village, whether or not we should, that's an asset to the village,
That's a good,
and we should promote that.
Yep.
it'd be very
Especially since we're
easy to
paying for all
promote
of
that
it.
and then put links to the town of Hoosick for like, yes, that's a very good point.
Especially since we're, they're taking our New York forward route, maybe.
No, that's community nerd for mine. I'm happy with that.
Taking?
Them fighting
We
words.
may have to have a discussion about
Yeah, so if you guys have any other ideas for other websites that we wanna put up here, that's fine, that's great. And I'll make sure this goes up there as well, to you guys. So going back to the schedule for this, I'm trying to get him details on the current looks to tweak by the end of next week. We're gonna get all of the content populated over the next couple weeks, hopefully by the end of January. Dropbox is gonna be where the documents get stored, minutes, agendas, things like that. And that will be something where we'll set up on the, clerk or deputy clerk's computer. They throw in a file when they're done, put it in there. All of a sudden it has access online and it's organized within Dropbox. So if you wanna look for a planning board, you're gonna look for boards, and then you're gonna look for planning boards, and then you're gonna look for year, and boom, there's the file. And then anybody can download it. That's kind of the easiest, most efficient way to have all the files accessible, where it's not a huge pain for anyone just throwing up the files. So that's another thing.
Can we give, once we have that set up, with the paying the water and stuff on the
Yep.
on the website, can we ask people, would it be, well, I don't know if this makes things easier or not, but can we, all the bills I get, they always ask me if I wanna opt out of paper bills and just get email bills. Would that make our lives any easier or more complicated?
It could be a lot of data collection at this point because we don't have.
Well, they have to send you the email and stuff in order for them, they have to send a letter, opt in and.
I think before we do that, we have to make the larger decision on what's the next software we're gonna use for everything, and then see what our options are from there. So, yeah.
Okay.
Alright. So we have some discussions to have here, but we are tonight after the meeting I'm gonna post the DPW labor position that we're looking to hire full time. Applications will be due by the end of the day Tuesday, and we'll get interviews moving very quickly because we all wanna hire that because we're down a person right now. Code enforcement, and this says treasurer, but Elena corrected us, we can only have one treasurer as per village law, so this will be a deputy treasurer position. Now trustees, I know we talked a lot about descriptions and hours and so on and so forth. Did we wanna discuss anything else that we had
Does it
mentioned
need
in
to be,
email?
is civil service involved in any of this at all?
No.
Good.
Although, I have to double check with code enforcement
Well, I was gonna say, I
officer,
thought there was.
because
Public officials.
there is a specific list and title for that, but I don't think that there are any people on the list, so I have to double check that. When it was a part-time code enforcement officer, we didn't have to use a list because the list was for full-time, but because we've shifted to going for a full-time code enforcement, I'll have to confer again with civil service on that. The last time I checked with them, there was no active list on this.
But aren't we going to do a full and a part-time though?
Eventually, yes. My thought is, we do the full-time now, and the full-time person gets the benefit of working with Mark.
And then once
Then you.
Mark retires, then
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I did check in with Mark, who has been telling people, and he gave us notice, so it's okay to discuss in public that Mark has given his retirement date is May 31st of this year, the end of the fiscal year. Which again, we appreciate you giving us the early heads up, and like we set up for email, thank you for everything you have done and been involved in. I think you basically got the start from scratch and kind of recreate everything, especially being the first full-time person. And we've made a lot of really good strides and involved in a lot of good ways, and I'm really glad of what we've done, and we obviously
Still a work in progress.
we absolutely have more to do. So hiring a full-time person now will give us the overlap of 2 full-time while you're here, and then when you retire, we can already be ready and have a part-timer, and the new person will likely take over as full-time. So then we'll end up with 1.5.
Wasn't there, well, there was somebody on the, there was a list.
But
Yes.
he was only
He was
only looking for
full-time position.
full-time,
And now
but
we
then
have
it
full-time.
shifted to, well, I'm actually working for someone, so I'm looking for odd hours, and it didn't really work for
Right.
us. But I
But
would
if we have a full-time position, do we have to offer it to him? Because he's on that
we
list.
have to use the list, but it depends on if the list is active, if everyone's reachable, if they're available. So I do have to circle back tomorrow with civil service on that. I feel like
But
we're-
as of, recently, the only one on the list was that individual we offered the position to for part-time, right?
yes.
Right.
Yes. And we don't have to follow the treasurer or deputy treasurer rather is not a competitive class, so there is no list, so unless there's anything else you guys wanted to discuss about this, I don't know if there's anything else we need to discuss, but we'll have the labor item posted immediately, and we'll get the code and deputy treasurer one up probably within the next 24 hours. Alright, moving on, thank you for us getting through this. I don't know why I called that 6, I thought that was supposed to be 7. I have just a brief update on the Catania properties, which there's 4 of them, but I've listed the 3 of them here on Classic Street.
It is, that's another, but it is 7, Rob, on your on our.
Yeah, I did the PowerPoint wrong. The 4 properties in the village have started the foreclosure process with Rensselaer County. Rensselaer County Finance has noted that due to a recent law change that modified the 90-day redemption period to now a 6-month redemption period, the earliest the county would have title would be this summer of 2025. Now they have to go through the court process, and the court process includes the 6-month period. So let's assume for a minute that they do get a title in the summer, probably late summer. I've already talked to what's Wojciech's first name? Mark from County Finance, who's fantastic to work with. I've already explained, and he knows that we want these. I'm gonna formally put a letter together and explain why, how important this is for village, safety, Route 22, infrastructure, greenway, all that stuff. But really the process between the county and the village can't start until they have title. So assuming and hoping that the village can end up with this is probably a fall thing. If the village, if it doesn't work out, it would simply go up to auction in probably September.
Yeah, should we let the New York Forward people know about this, because Bistro's proposal is in there, and that's dependent on that land, so I'd hate for that to get knocked because they don't know about this.
I will ask Ian and Matt about that. That's a great question. But again, I wanted this on the radar because I know this is something we've wanted to see move on, and even though it's coming soon, it's still not soon enough. So.
Rob, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
So the sidewalk in front of Catania's building.
Yes.
The one that's kind of collapsing.
It kind of yes.
Someone brought it to my attention the other day that may be a state issue because it's a state highway.
Yeah.
We've tried it with the state, and the state's like, that's a nice idea, but we're okay.
Alright.
It's your problem because the drainage is your problem.
Yeah, the state said that back a couple years ago at least.
So
He
they
says
say
that every time.
Are they saying
Yes.
it's not their responsibility?
We've had
Saying
to
they're not
stay
paying
there.
attention to it, good luck with that.
They're not responsible for it. Well, I don't know if they've directly said we're not responsible.
Well, they've been there a couple times and yeah, that's, until, unless the street collapses or something. then
Yeah.
It's not an issue.
They've chosen not to act on it despite our requests.
They are aware of it.
Yeah.
And it's all documented.
Yes. Yes. Alright. So I just wanted that mysterious number 6/7. Oh, I'm off by. Oh, I had an extra slide, that's why. Okay. Number 8, community service program. As we discussed last meeting, we have to get the title created through civil service. So I'll be submitting the 2 documents, new position duty statement and job specs sheet to Civil Service Commission. They have a meeting, we've missed a January meeting, it already happened, so they're working on setting a February meeting.
Is there a reason for creating that through civil service? Cause that will not only affect us, but that'll affect every community.
It's actually more proper to go through there, but it doesn't require every community uses this approach.
Once you create it. So my understanding is once you create that position in Rensselaer County,
Yeah.
every community, if they have appointed a community service coordinator,
Yeah.
they have to be off that list.
It won't be a list, cause there's not gonna be a test,
It's the same with that other position.
but that one
It's
has,
gotta be an exempt position, correct?
there's no test for this, it's just basically defining what the role is gonna be and having.
It's more or less an exempt position.
Yes, it will not be a competitive class. In fact, the only community service titles that they had were related to like community events. And we're like, no, this is like court assigned community service, and like, oh, we have nothing like that.
The sheriff's office has community service coordinator, that's what he does.
Okay,
There's two guys that do it, that's their job.
okay. This will not be like that. This is just a smaller scale. We define the scale
So why do we
scope
have
and
to do
role.
civil service at all?
Because that's the proper way you're supposed to be doing, creating positions and hiring things. Elena would be able to speak more about the reasons for that and kind of explain why it's been weird the way we've done it in the past, but that's the proper way.
I'm sure we're not the only village that's done that like this.
No,
for-
no, the new civil service staff has been awesome to work with for probably about the past 18 months to 2 years, I feel like they've been in there. And they're saying like everyone is going through like, oh, we've been doing this wrong, oh, you've been doing that wrong, oh, we'll change, so not a huge surprise. The water treatment plant dehumidification project, which I was panicking that I couldn't find the bid documents, we haven't had the bid documents open yet. There was a pre-bid meeting, what's that?
I thought we did.
Yeah, I was totally off. The pre-bid meeting occurred on site at the water plant. This was this past Tuesday, 2 days ago, allowing contractors to see location, get information. Delaware Engineering was on hand. You said Tab was there, right?
Ted Johnson, yeah.
And along with Jim and Josh, there are 4 contractors who came, looked around and asked questions. Coming on the 23rd at 2 p.m, that will be the bid opening for the projects. Once we get the bids, we'll get the summary letter, which you're about to see with our other project, and then it will be the board decision on when and how quickly to move on it. Just know that Megan's not here, but if we don't move on it immediately, she will haunt you in your dreams, and rightfully so. Cover that right, Kenny?
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, I was in the meeting too.
Oh, you were there too. Thank you. I'm sorry I did not have that on the record.
That's okay. It seems like it's pretty straightforward, I mean, it's not gonna be a
Good,
huge deal,
good.
so.
And they all were expressing how important it was to be under 6 figures, right?
Yeah, I don't deal with that.
I'm kidding, it's not gonna be anywhere near that, but that would be nice. Alright. So the UV disinfection project, which has been going on since before I started as mayor, we finally, after all of the delays, initially it was an MRB thing and the engineering planning grant, and then all the stuff happened, and then we got MRB to hand over the project to us. We brought Robert Flores of Delaware Engineering in, who has designed our wastewater treatment plant, our water treatment plant. Like this,
the carbon plant, yeah.
yeah, so Robert has been involved in through various groups the design of a lot of the village of Hoosick Falls.
20 years.
Yes, we had many more delays. We had to wait for DEC to give us an updated speedies permit, which took forever because of the complications from the landfill and PFOA, because everything's complicated.
Yep, you have to leave the state and everything, you guys.
Yep, so we finally have the bids, they finally came back, I'm gonna throw them up on the screen, Robert's here to talk about that. I have it as the only new business item, do you guys mind if we jump to that right now, or do you wanna come back?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Alright,
I wanna scoot over this way, just have our
you can
eye
certainly,
contact, man.
yeah. So, I'm gonna show you 2 documents here. This is the letter, the summary letter from Delaware Engineering. Bids were open on December 20th, in the village of Hoosick Falls. 5 bids were received. General contracting, which they're calling 1G, and 4 for the electrical contract, which they're calling 1E. They reviewed the bids to confirm the lowest bidders are the responsive qualified bidders. I'm assuming you've also checked in all the insurance stuff that they would have to have. The low bid was CFI Contracting for 2.38 million for the general contract, and for electric, Stilsing Electric for 213,000. Down here, this I'm not going to show you this because there's just too much crap to look at there for all the bid stuff. I'm going to scroll down to, where is it? Nope, that's a notice of award. Was there like one overview somewhere?
The total, the budget?
Yeah. Is it this really hard one to read?
I think it's the next document, is that what?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, the next one is the updated budget. So anyway, let me come back to this in a moment. So these are the lowest bids. It's hard to read, but the 2.38 was here. The other bids for this were 2.41, 2.46, 2.49, and 3.2. Man, who was that?
Do a prayer out there.
What's that?
Get through a prayer out there.
Yeah, wow. And then on the electric side, I scrolled the wrong direction, sorry. 213, 269, 450, and 555. Wow. So, going to the next document here, this is, I'm going to stand up for a minute, enter teacher mode. This is the original cost estimate back in 2019, which had engineering, bidding, design, construction costs, engineering, construction, administration, observation, and contingency. Back in 2019, that was the cost. Now, obviously, a few things have happened since 2019 pandemic. This is our revised budget right now. Total engineering costs were $150,000. The low bid construction cost was this is construction plus electric, right? This is all of it. 2.593. The engineering, construction, administration, and observation, we were estimating at 200,000 because it's a 12-month project, right?
It depends how long the construction is, right?
Okay, and then throwing contingency. So we're looking at overall project cost of 3.143 million. And again, this all stems back to just before my time when the state put a new requirement on wastewater treatment plants requiring some form of disinfection. I think UV disinfection. Was there another type of disinfection?
Well, just UV disinfection and chlorine disinfection were evaluated.
So, and this was the best for the location. So, this takes us to our previous bond resolution. Originally, way back when, we had approved a bond resolution to allow us to borrow for 1.5 million. What I didn't put up here, and I should have put up here, is we have two funding sources that are helping us finance this project. The first one is $1 million WQIP grant that's administered by DEC, and that is specific to construction costs. So that 3.143 number is now lowered to 2.143 because $1 million of that is covered by the state. We also received a small 140, was it 143?
Yeah, it was 25% of
it was
500,000, right?
Yes, it was 20. Yes, so we have a small about 140,000 something as well, which is why we're figuring that when you take all of that out, it's 2 million, and that includes having a $200,000 contingency in there. So Denise worked with our bond counsel, and I think you guys have a packet in front of you that gives us a new bond resolution. I know we're kind of explaining this to you all of a sudden and putting this in front of you all of a sudden. So if you're nervous about not doing it tonight, we can put it off to the special meeting, but what's tied to this is the estoppel timing and the, what's the other one?
This will be published for 30 days and then a 20-day estoppel.
So
it delays the award a bit.
Yeah, so Robert, do you wanna summarize, fix anything I said, add anything?
I think you summarized it very well, but if anybody has questions, I can get some more details.
What's the term of the bond?
It's an EFC bond, so it's a 0% interest bond, right?
30 years, yeah.
30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. EFC has been exceptionally patient also with this process, and also the fact that we have been behind in our own financial stuff, so that adjusted a few things, but they have actually been advocating to make sure that everything stayed on, and they did that, and we got that meeting recently to make sure that was okay. So we're still in good standings. The other assistance was 132,000.
Okay.
That was the other number. So the bond resolution that we have in front of you, which I forgot to double click the link on, one moment, is
511,000.
increases the 1.5 million to make it a 2.1 something. Here it is.
0.011.
Oh, that's why, because it was a Word document. So I'm gonna throw this up on the screen over here as well. This is standard form from our other bond resolution stuff that we have done. This is kind of the initial cover letter that will add to the 1.5 to make it a 2,211,000 bond. Thank you. I'm gonna scroll down from the first page. That's just the specific paperwork. Okay. So on page 3, this is the resolution authorizing, subject to permissive referendum, the issuance of an additional 511,000 bond of the Village of Hoosick Falls, Rensselaer County, New York, to pay the increased cost of the wastewater treatment plant disinfection upgrade project in and for said village. We've seen this before. You guys have the text in front of you. This goes through and explains the rationale for it. It talks about the initial budget being 1.5. It's determined that we need to increase it. Now therefore be it resolved by the affirmative vote, not less than 2/3 of the total voting strength of the Board of Trustees, which with 5 of us here would have to be 4 out of 5. The specific object or purpose of paying, summarize it, it'll increase it by 511,000. I don't need to go through all the details. I hereby determine that the planning for the finances of such 2,211,000 maximum estimated costs. Goes through the details here, the original 1.5, the new 511. Lots more stuff that we have to have in these. Do you guys have any questions while I kind of scroll through the extra writing in here? And the questions could be for Robert or for Denise.
I'm just curious, a 30-year bond, what's our annual cost? What does that add to our budget?
I haven't even looked at it, to be honest with you.
What's the closest thing we have to that?
Because we're trying to get rid of bonds.
We are.
Well, the good thing is 0% interest, so the math is easy.
Right, and the ones we have now currently are 0% as well, but.
But they're payments out of our budget, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let me.
I'm trying to think of sewer.
Give me a
Both of our
minute.
debt payments are around $280,000 a year.
Altogether,
Water is 280, sewer.
that's the big, that plus the one.
Right.
So this is a debt file that we had from April of last year that shows the current balance and the payments. Now these payments are based on a larger
It's more
sum.
money. It's a lot more money.
But for 258,000 a year, it added $72 to a bond, but that was also divided over 3 bonds.
Right, so you're looking at half of that.
Yeah.
So you're saying zero interest, right? So wouldn't you divide it
Would-
in
would
30
this get-
years, so it'd be 360 payments, right?
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right
It's
now.
$5,586,
And would this get added to the water bills?
5,000?
$55,8611.
Does this get added to the water bills?
If
Which I don't.
Well, it doesn't.
it would, there's 2 options because we have bonded some debt and we have
Right,
budgeted
And
for
there's
it.
no bond payment added.
So like for these other debts that we have gone under, we have budgeted for these, so it doesn't have to fall on the water and sewer bills. So this would be another expense that it wouldn't be the 25-26 fiscal year, it'd be the one after that, because it,
Well, depending on when we close.
oh, that's
So it could
true,
even be, depending on how quick it moves,
okay.
but.
It will have to be added and budgeted for, whatever the final cost is. What did you come up with it for a cost?
It's, hang on a second, I'm sorry.
2,011,000.
About $5,500.
Yeah,
a
50,
year.
yeah, it's 55, a month. So it's about 67,000 a year, yeah, it's 2,011,000 divided by 360.
So
558611 a month times 12, so it's $67,033.33 a year.
So that would be the additional payment the village has on the project.
Right, so that would, right.
And of course, we're stuck because this is one of those glorious unfunded
Oh,
mandates.
mandated, yeah, it's mandated, right. So we don't really have any choice.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
unfortunately we don't.
We do have options, we have money to get rid of some bond costs
Sure,
that might offset
sure,
that.
right,
Yes.
I'm just saying we don't have any choice as to do, whether to do it or not, yes, absolutely.
So, any other questions, thoughts? Fists you wanna shake in New York State?
It has to be fist.
Alright, in that case, we need to have someone
Fingers have to
offer,
stay.
they don't have it on here, but we need to have someone offer and second the
I'll
resolution.
make the motion.
I'll second it.
Alright, so offered by trustee Sauer, seconded by deputy mayor Ryan. Any further discussion? Can you do a roll call vote,
Yep,
please?
Mayor Allen,
I'm a yes.
Deputy Mayor Ryan,
Yes.
Trustee Hanselman,
Yes.
Trustee Alter,
Yep.
Trustee Sauer.
As an absent are trustee Walreed and Shuddick. Alright. Thank you, Robert. Do you have any other questions on this project for Robert? I mean, Robert and Delaware have also been involved in us trying to get that other grant for moving forward with some of the water infrastructure project upgrades, including fixing the Rogers Avenue tank. So he's here if you got questions, but I don't think I have any at this time, so I feel like we know where we're at. Awesome. Thank you, Robert.
Yep.
In the morning, we'll get all the signed documents emailed out to you, and we'll start with the advertising and all that glorious, wonderful stuff.
We'll start the clock, yeah. Okay.
Beautiful.
Alright, thanks.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we've completed new business early, alright, cool. Back to the mayor stuff. Alright. Come on, where are you? Alright, trustee Sauer, did you wanna give an update further on transportation and Swama other than what I put on the agenda?
The town discussed the idea of a shared services agreement, and we're looking at something, a meeting in February with Swama and us, and also to present our finances around that. And we'll go from there, is that accurate?
Yeah, that was a discussion.
There is, I do wanna say, cause I know it's they have not, and we have not been able to find a contract.
We've been looking for that for years.
Like the
And they've been
original
telling us-
Original
contract.
contract, and
We looked
the
for that.
first response
Remember,
from them,
Denise,
the
didn't we?
first response from them is there is no contract.
We changed the story a million times since.
The second response is we get the Scottycoke contract in 1990. The third response is they think they have a contract with the town. And it's just enacted.
Well, I know the town back when Marilyn Douglas was supervisor, that's when they got out of it. They weren't-
Maybe I'll talk to her to get that.
And they got out of it, so, I don't know if they're being.
It was Pete that pulled out of it, right? No, it was Marilyn?
Marilyn Douglas, I don't know if they're being in our record room or not.
I have found, and I think I may know where the box is. The original litigation when Don Regardis was mayor, where the village tried to leave Urswama, went to court over it and failed. I think I have that. I think I know where that is. Can you keep bugging me to ask about that?
Kevin Allard.
Yeah.
You're gonna ask Kevin Allard.
Yes.
So the only other thing is.
321 State Route. I don't know.
Is we're gonna be revising the recycling prices, which goes back a decade or more, and
Yes.
we're losing money.
Yes.
That's what started this whole look at it. Probably March 1st or April 1st, all depends on what we're going to do with the town in terms of timing.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Thank you, Doug.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Oh my
you for
God.
taking that
I
on.
thank you more than
Yes,
you
Kenny.
So, in with all this, the packer again is not working. I have someone going up and looking at it again. So in the meantime, when the packer's not working, we're throwing cardboard, tin, glass on the pad. We're paying
Oh.
C&D price for that, get rid of it. We have to do something with that. I mean, I've had a guy up there at least 4 times in the last 3 weeks to look at it.
What?
And first they found that the hydraulic fluid was full of water, it was freezing up, they drained it, put new hydraulic fluid in it, put a new cap on it so it didn't drain. Keith just came to me yesterday and said it didn't work again this past weekend, so we made a call to have someone come up and look at it again. But I mean, the commingle itself is just costing us an arm and a leg. we're paying for it, we're not charging for it, we're paying by the ton, I think it was like $140 a ton
Yep.
to get rid of it. We're not charging for it, village residents have told me we'll pick up.
Yeah.
You know, I know that we're entering into a deal with the town. We can't keep throwing it on the pad because we're paying C&D price for it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the cardboard is, I mean, I went up there Tuesday to clean the pad, and it's just cardboard and Christmas paper everywhere. And it's just blowing everywhere, and it's just making a huge mess.
A mess again, Kenny, like.
Yeah, I mean, when I try to dump it in the dumpster, the whole thing just blows out of the bucket loader. and-
How do other transfer stations do that type of recycling?
So they usually, the ones that I know of, I've been to Cambridge a couple times, and I could be wrong. They have a building you drive into, the dumpster's set below, you know, you drive up on like a pad, and you just throw everything into the dumpster, so it's all encapsulated.
Is it like commingled stuff, or is it like they just
They have-
everything?
They have separate bins, you know, they have, you know, it's a long path with
Yeah.
a couple different dumpsters, you know, you can, but the thing that prevents us from having dump trailers run, cause you have to unload everything by hand
Yep.
in a situation like that.
Huh.
That's what Brunswick does with the dump trailer, they're backed into a shed.
Yeah.
You gotta throw it into the trailer and the guy goes.
Yeah.
That's what's like in Brunswick.
So, I mean, you know, the issue, you know, is that, again, you know, I had a half a pad full of just cardboard and so we either need to say if, you know, if the commingled dumpster's full, we can't take any more, or we need to repair this structure.
When I lived in the village of Nassau almost 2 decades ago, they had just it was like kind of open all the time, drive in and you just throw it in the particular dumpster.
Sure.
But the dumpster's open and shut.
Yeah.
And you'd have one for recycling, you'd have one for cardboard,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of tough with us, in a situation where we have to load everything in the bucket.
yes.
Do we know how much it costs to put a pressure?
I have no idea, I don't know if they've got scale in the company yet. I mean, like I said, it's been, I think, this is the 4th time this month, or in the past month, that we've had to have somebody come over and look at it. And it's full again, I was up there Tuesday, and it's just full to the top.
I mean, if it's full, I think we gotta stop taking it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can put a sign up and put some online notices saying we can't take commingled / recycled right now. Sorry for the inconvenience. We physically can't take it, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know, I mean, Doug and I have discussed too, I don't know if we put like a nominal price on commingled. Like I said, we're paying $125 a ton to get rid of it, and we're not charging for it. So, I mean, I don't know what the tonnage is, I don't know if you guys can find out, I don't see any of that paperwork. You know, I think that dumpster gets pulled every couple months, and I would assume it's probably at least 10 to 12 ton. You know,
Okay.
and we're paying that out.
And-
Didn't we talk about getting rid of the commingled?
We have, but if we're going to enter into a deal with the town, we
That's
can't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the likely thing is that a lot of that is probably the town's.
Yes.
I mean, I use it from time to time, and only for big stuff that doesn't
Yeah.
fit in my.
I mean, the village residents have commingled pickup,
Yep.
they don't,
Yeah.
they don't
Yep.
need it.
We rarely.
We're going to enter into a deal with the town, we need
Alright.
to figure it out. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do, I know a lot of people do.
I love it. I
Yeah.
don't want to see that go, because it's when you need it. Oh man, it's great to have
That's
that.
gonna be big in the spring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, A, I guess get a price on it, and B, I think we agree if it's filled, we can't take it.
We have to turn
Yeah.
people away.
People away.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's like we said, Kenny, right, that's what
And
you
then
gotta do.
You're also suggesting a price on the fee schedule for something.
I would do something small, nothing crazy, but I mean, you know, we gotta try to recoup some of that money we're bleeding out every
All right.
couple months.
Agree.
Yeah. Yep.
We can talk about that.
Okay.
And
Right.
we look at the fee schedule, I'm gonna share the fee schedule in town as well.
Yeah. They're gonna probably want to know historical data on how much the commingled dumpsters cost per ton and how much is spent on it. So.
Well, I know that Matt told us the last meeting we had, I think it was $125 a ton. That's what they charge us, so whatever, like I said, if it's 10 ton,
Yep.
then, you know, it's however much, you know, or 12 ton, I don't know how much.
You have you have all that data.
For the last 2 years,
Maybe
last
two
when I
years.
started it last year, yeah.
Do you sign any reports on a monthly basis? Who signs reports on a monthly basis?
I've not seen a report.
To
That
or
we submit to
Swama?
them.
Do we submit reports to Swama?
I was told.
We typically do it at the end of the
Somebody
year.
monthly signs a report.
What?
What?
Except
I've never
for that.
sold, I've never signed anything for a.
We do the annual one that shows the numbers, it's just a simple like,
I've never
on
done
one
it.
cover sheet.
And that's good, that we're not signing any
Yeah. I've never signed anything.
I was told we were on the
Other
road
than
and
the
we
yearly
signed
thing.
reports monthly.
Yeah, I don't know
But it
what,
was everything I hear is the truth, so.
awesome,
Well, it's a different story every single time.
yeah.
That, no.
Alright, good stuff, thank you guys for moving on that.
Just in time.
Is he arriving right now? Hi, we have been waiting in the spot, no, I'm just kidding, we just got to your spot, come on in. Trustee Shutting is here.
Late negotiations, sorry.
That happens. So, update number 12, we've gone through like most of the meeting already, is from Trustee Shutting, just a policy and personnel employee handbook update. We're near the completion of the draft handbook, after which it will be reviewed by our village attorney and labor council, before it gets its final review.
Oh, you really are on this?
We literally just got to this.
Now I am.
We've been bouncing all over the place, so,
Oh.
yeah. Anything you wanna add to that?
No, I'll have it done, my goal is to have it wrapped up, Rob, before for the turnover, I only have like 10 more pages to do, it's just finding time sometimes to get it done, so.
I am familiar with that feeling.
A lot of it's boilerplate, as you know, you can imagine, there's
Yeah.
pretty generic sexual harassment policies and, those kind of things.
Is there anything we can get started after the attorneys right now?
I get to the office tomorrow, and if I got a minute to take a look at it, or if I got time, going to Montreal this weekend, I might be able to print some stuff off tomorrow and take a look.
Okay, that'd be great.
What you may, especially want stuff to plug into the automated, timekeeping
Yeah,
software.
the payroll system then.
Yeah, for the purposes of and like pre-entering how much vacation time and everything, so there's like an automatic drawdown, I'm assuming.
Yeah, now that we're hiring a couple of new positions, it's kind of.
Absolutely right time. Yeah.
Yep.
How is the new payroll system going, by the way? Going fine?
We're not using it yet.
Oh, we're still doing the trial runs to make sure everything works.
No, we're not even that far. We
Oh.
have to, I have to have a conversation for the last week in January, and it's all about the timing portion of it, as far as
Okay.
timekeeping.
Okay.
And Kenny and I were talking, we believe that everyone is gonna sign in, the highway will sign in on Kenny's computer.
Okay.
We will allocate one in our office.
Okay.
There's a question on Keith, like,
Yeah, I
defense,
mean,
but we'll talk to them about that.
Because Keith goes to the transfer station every Saturday, is he gonna have to come down here? He does have a village phone, so we could have him, punch in from his phone if he had to. That was just one of my concerns.
Yeah, you can make that an exception.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a applicable exception based on the fact there's no computers
Is there
near.
Wi-Fi over there?
No. I don't think so.
where?
At the highway garage,
Transfer station.
transfer station, I doubt it.
Did he
No.
use the Paychex? Can he use that?
He can.
Can log
I'm
in
not
on
sure
that?
what they're gonna use,
The only thing with those,
they're not using the boundary one.
I was gonna say, most of them have a proximity.
And maybe they'll set him up with one.
I think we would all be in favor of making him the
Yes,
exception of that
yes.
situation.
Yeah, of course.
So if we need to do something specific documentation wise, but that one makes sense.
And if, obviously, the, transfer station's supposed to be open at X time and it's not, we're gonna hear about it, right?
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
my only other concern was like, this time of year, snow point, you guys come in and their contract means they get 3 hours calling, whether they're here, if I have to call in.
Yes.
So if we're only here for an hour and they punch out, how is that gonna work? Are they still gonna get their 3 hours? I guess that's.
Oh, that's a good point.
You
That's a
can
very good
set,
set it up, so it's
you can
automatic.
set, you can set it up that way, so it's sort of like a set of rules that
Yep.
auto
Yep.
generate.
That's what this whole call is supposed to generate, so I
Okay.
should have you come in,
Sure.
we're having a call, yeah.
John, you'll need the same things if people are called in for certain, no, you're good?
Ours is set, so like, our guys, when they come in, when it's a call in, they select call in, and
Okay.
it does it.
Okay, great. Is it the same system or different system?
No, we have plan,
What's that?
we have that hour time plan.
Does that work with whatever you have in the office?
It would transfer over.
Okay, alright, good, I don't need to, you guys are great, awesome, rock stars. Alright, the last thing is just that we know we're gonna need a special meeting in the next week or two. Ideally, we're hiring a laborer, after having interviews, because that's closing on Tuesday. I'm hoping that Elena is in good enough health to help us finish the local law. Tiffany is here, which is fantastic, and been waiting patiently for us to get to this point. I was like, oh, we'll get to you early.
I'm fine.
Sorry. But I do want to turn it over to Tiffany here just to give us some updates and some of the stuff that Doug and Brett and Tiffany and I have discussed over email. So I don't know where you want to start with that, Tiffany.
So I've recently made an Excel sheet of like all the we went through all the people that currently are in village residents that are renewing their applications at this time. And there's about 60, I counted 66 because there was 2 that were overlaid.
I'm sorry, Tiffany, do you mind if I throw that email up on the screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, give me just a minute, I'll do that.
So,
You can keep talking, please. Yeah.
I did the total assessed values because it will cut their exemption. The exemption will cut their assessed value in half, which is what you multiply your tax rate by, which is how their, their bills are generated and you guys do your budget. So that is a pretty big number if you do jump to income under 40. So I didn't know, after Denise and I were talking, we sort of mentioned what some towns are doing is they implemented the state's minimum is 58, so they're, over the next 5 years, they're gonna jump this rate, this rate, this rate, and this rate for their incomes, so that the impact isn't as great all at once. So the town's currently at 40, I didn't know, since you guys are at 15, if you wanna do a 4-year plan, a 3-year plan, and then we could just implement that in the local law, go 25, 30, 35, 40 for 4 years, and then see how it slowly rolls out, because that 50% that all these residents are going to get will disperse to the other village residents.
Right.
So with that being said, that could be X amount on their tax bill, so if you do it slower, it's not as much of a, here's a big slam, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So the state minimum
State
is not
minimum,
necessarily you have to do it every year.
right, so state minimum's at 58,
Yeah.
where most municipalities have been at like 37.5.
Okay, but the state allows that to happen.
Correct. You can determine any amount that
Oh,
you
so
want
we,
to
oh,
determine.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
You
so
can't
you don't
go
have to
over
do
the
58,
58.
you don't even have to do 40.
You don't even have to do 40, no. So this just all came about because the county is reviewing everybody's like local laws, and they said your village one is really out of date, it doesn't meet standards, it doesn't tell you what income you're taking, what income you're not taking. We've gotten rid of medical and prescription, which yours never had. The town did, but we got rid of it, we jumped it up to 40. As cost of living changes, 40 is still a pretty low number, since the state just went to 58. But it's a big, big impact.
Have you run the numbers to see how much of an impact it is for the overall,
For the town?
for the village, the overall number for the village?
So the overall total assessed value is 10,500,000 for everybody that has that. So if you divide that by 50, you're at 5 million. And then, however, it would affect
It's
Denise's
5
budget.
million off, that becomes your exemption number,
Yeah.
and how much is that, I mean, how much of a percentage is that?
So the village
overall?
tax rate right now is $8 and 28,999. So if we multiply that by the exemption amount, you're at 43,000 that needs to be dispersed.
Right, so then, that needs to be dispersed, so now what's the new tax number become for
Right.
everybody else?
That's what I'm saying, that 43,000 would need to be dispersed amongst all the taxpayers,
Right,
the
so-
remaining taxpayers.
Right, so but it may not be huge.
It might not be huge, but
I'm
depending
just saying,
on what
but you
the
need to know
budget
what that
is,
number is.
Yeah.
but I can't really give,
You can get close.
that's close.
That's,
So just to be clear, it doesn't, the actual tax levy for the village would not change. Essentially what it would do is take the discount that these, this is specifically the people are getting, and redistribute that discount to the rest of, so if you were above that line, your taxable rate per thousand would go up.
It's not that the taxable rate per thousand would go up, it would be your tax, like, right, I wanna make sure I'm explaining it, that your tax rate could change.
tax rate would change, cause your assessed value that you're taxing
It's
is going to
different.
change.
Anybody over
Oh,
40 wouldn't
so the
change.
rate stays the same, but the value of the house goes down.
So their, yeah, so,
So.
so their,
yeah.
so their tax bill is like almost cut in like half.
When you say they're the ones who are under 40,000.
Right, seniors under 40,000.
Seniors
The
and.
rate stays the same, but we're losing assessed value.
Well, we're redistributing
Redistributing the assessment.
to everybody else.
So if I'm
So we'll
assessed,
still get that money, but everyone else is gonna pay the money.
Right.
Yeah, so if 0.1% of the entire thing is taken out of seniors, it will get evenly redistributed across everyone. So
And how
everyone
do-
will have the slight tick up.
Slight pickup.
But we don't know how much is the tick up, that's the question, that's why
Right.
the idea of, instead of jumping right to 40, maybe we go to 20 next year, 25 the year after, 30 and so on, and it's a slow increase until the senior exception applies at 40.
and how is that
Which by
computed
that
though,
point
when
the
you-
state will have raised it
if
to
bounce to a
7 days.
1% increase, the crazy numbers, my house is assessed at
This is gonna be such a mess.
$100,000, does it go to 101?
No, your assessment stays the same.
Well, how would it, how
So
does
that's
the
where
money
I,
get made
that's
up?
where I buy like by your tax
So
bill.
the cost per thousand goes up?
Because
I
right
think
now,
it's
if you're
Cost
raising,
per thousand.
if you're
Yeah.
raising $1 million in taxes
Yep.
amongst everybody, then this is gonna affect the amount that you're raising. Because now
Monday's
it might become $1,010,000 amongst everybody that's not.
I'm just wondering how the additional costs are.
Yeah, I would need to see
Distributed.
like, I would need
We
to
get
see
a
raised
report every year
quotes.
for the exemptions, so we have, when our calculations are done, the exemptions are taken on.
I
It'd
don't
be raised
understand how,
report, it's raised report, right?
I don't
It's raised,
understand
yes,
how
I've
it's,
never seen that report myself.
I don't understand how it's redistributed, because
Oh,
it sounds to
so
me we
county.
just get less money.
No,
No.
The value of
No.
my property
So your
stays the same, and
taxable
my
assessment.
rate stays the same.
your
Your
budget's,
taxable assessed value is what you have to raise no matter who pays.
right,
Your exemptions come off of that and then the rest of it is spread. over
Oh,
your
so
tax.
okay, so that value stays there, they're
Right.
just not paying for it.
right, so
So
like he said, the budget's
Yes.
the budget,
Right.
and then the
That's the
taxable value is
unfairness of it.
taxable value.
Yes.
Right, everybody else picks up the difference.
Yeah, I
Right.
get it now.
Again, likely a small difference, but yeah.
Right, right,
That's
so
the,
if, so
that's
if you took
the
this,
paper towels and the stuff.
say this
That was not
43,000 is like the number that needs to be made up. You divide that by the parcels, the approximate parcels is around a little over 1,000, so you divide your parcels, it's like $28 a tax bill estimated, but
How do we, I'm just trying to think, I don't remember any connection between my property tax and my income. So,
cause you don't qualify for an
If you're
exemption.
not-
It's
Yeah, how
it's senior exemption we're
no, I
talking.
know, how do we actually know? Like,
Oh, they have to prove your income.
yeah, but I'm saying, if we're at 15,000 right now, we go to 40,000,
Yeah.
how do we actually know how many seniors?
Because
are-
I already have a list, that they qualify for town, county, and school.
Yeah, there's
And
a
you have to,
process, they have to explain
file
all this and
with
provide
the state.
documentation to the
Yes.
assessor.
No, I have no doubt that they have to prove it, I'm just asking how many people are gonna come out of the
No,
woodwork.
no
I have no
many.
idea how much my neighbor,
Not,
she's a senior.
not many more. I
Okay.
don't assume, so every year we have, well, since I've started, we've been mailing out postcards that go to anybody, so the state has a report that they give the county mails out these postcards. If you're eligible for income, you're over the age of 65, your income's under 40,000, reach out to the assessor. So I have seven pages already of people that are reviewed.
Is that household income?
Total household income, yeah, so that's what I was trying to say to you guys in the email.
Households change as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Households do change.
Yeah.
So like say, so we just had like a senior pass away, they
Right.
have the exemption, they lose the exemption, I have to do paperwork, money comes back to the county, which gets dispersed to the town, so it's a process, so as like things happen, things change. But that's why raising the income limit can make a big difference.
So the way we know how many people to expect is because they
Right.
already applied for the town exemption, and so we can just
So-
take those numbers and
right.
apply them to the
I've
village
only had
ones that are in the village.
two new village applicants this
Okay.
year.
So when she sent me this email, these were the 13 incomes that were under 40,000 in the entire
I
town.
have renewed, I'm still at
That have-
30 outstanding.
Okay, so there's 30 other possibilities. There were only 2 that fit under the village's $15,000, which is, I don't,
It's so low.
that's so,
I don't
no
know
my
how, I
God.
don't know how they survive unless they have a savings, but we don't,
Yeah.
ask for savings information, we go by what the state requires.
Do you have a higher number here now than 13?
I do. We have one. This is not updated with that, we got like 3 more in today, but I wasn't able to input them.
And how many are you waiting to hear back from, or
From
we?
the village alone, we probably have 30 outstanding.
Okay.
What's the time frame?
They have till March 1st.
Before
We have until now, sure, should make that decision.
you guys do too, yeah.
I think we need to look at it.
So we need the local law done before March 1st.
Cause that's when.
For it to count this year, otherwise it'll just be
Correct.
the same and count.
Correct.
If we don't change it, are we like in trouble? Are we
The
we're out of
no,
compliance?
you're not in trouble, it's just, it's like the county, even just the one you guys have, doesn't say like how you input income. So, you know, the town has a standard of how we verify income, state has a standard how you verify income, you guys don't really
Oh, that's
have
down here.
that.
So this is the requirements that town county uses.
Yeah, yep. And the state,
And the state?
yep.
So we would need to
So
build
this-
this into our own
Right.
So
local
that's what I
law.
sent you guys prior, so all of that in this prior local law here is in section B, it just looks different, so when I deny somebody on their renewal or a new application, I try to break it down, so I have a chart, so I take what the state has and I put it in a chart, so I can show them their full entire income of where they're over, like, just so I can explain it, and so instead of looking at it like plus or minus, which
Yep.
I already have in this local law. The example of this local law for you guys. So here it looks like
Like she was
this,
saying, if we
in this
could-
local, this is how our
We got
local laws
state
look.
ones, but
Section B
maybe
here,
if you
it's
have a
just plus or
401k,
minus
you're
social security, plus or
gonna
minus
be-
lost
it's gotta show
litigation,
income.
plus or minus, so it looks different, but that is everything.
Okay. I think we need to change this. I
I
don't
agree.
think we should jump to 40 immediately.
Well, we can.
I think if we could jump to 20 and increase 5, we could jump to 25.
We looked at numbers, 25 is a magic number, we're all of a sudden moving on.
Yeah,
What's on those
I
13?
did hand to the lawyer what the
You
town
go to
has.
20, you double your numbers. See, 25 seems to be really rare.
Yeah.
Is there any, does it matter what the?
So this is what the
So
town looks
25
like,
days.
it's
I'd be
3 or
comfortable
4
with
pages,
20 just to get our feet wet on it.
3 pages deep, and this
And
is
then
what
have
your
a
guys' is.
multi-year
Okay.
plan for, I
We'd
don't
have,
know.
we'd have 5 people
2002?
according to
Okay,
the list
yeah.
if we were,
Hmm?
or actually 4 people if we had 12.
So,
Yeah, which there's more
Yeah.
than those numbers.
just need to catch up a little bit.
Tiffany, is there any, does it matter what the parcel is valued at all? or
But we
is that
really
not-
have to assess what,
Does
No,
that
none of that
what the
matters,
impact on the
Either you
other
lose
rates.
million
Oh,
or
right,
$1,000
right.
here and get an exemption.
depending on where their money is.
Can you limit the amount of the
Because they
exemption
could
or
have
is
15.
Well, that's what I need you
the
guys to
house
choose, is what, well, no, it's 50%,
it's 50%?
it's 50%.
$2 million house, 50%.
If their income is eligible.
Okay.
So
Well, I put, they live in a $2 million house.
I mean, the,
No, I'm
the-
just
the
wondering if
house,
they're like a-
the house with the
limit how
highest
much we can-
assessment.
It's like people who pay
And they're
taxes on
doing
their
reverse
income,
mortgages,
but if
that's
you're
where
just
the money's
wealthy, you don't have to
coming
pay
from.
taxes on that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, we all
usually
are-
if they're wealthy, they're not coming in to apply.
No, I know,
You know
but
what I mean?
it was something.
So the highest assessed house we have on here, I think it was 2 something. My God, it's so little, did me some of
All
Two
fun and
56 is the highest assessed house in the village, that is already eligible for the exemption of the town, county, and school.
I mean, which kind of goes along with my thought pattern, if your house is assessed at 256, mine isn't even assessed that high, and you're getting 50% shave off, I mean.
Yeah, but if it's assessed at
Oh,
that
you're
now and
over.
you bought it 40 years ago,
Right.
Right, yeah.
So we definitely wanna do this, we wanna have the local law introduced within a week or two, it's just really the cutoff that we're trying to decide right now. Where are you guys on the first cutoff? Do you wanna go to 20, 25,
I think 25 is too high.
To start,
start at 20?
I think
See
we
what
should
the
start,
effect
Yes.
I think we see.
5,000
See
incremental
what the effects are,
increases.
then we can start
Yeah.
measuring
You just don't
a
know.
longer range plan.
Okay,
I
so-
never heard of this until 3 weeks ago.
so we're thinking the general thought is to start at 20, but increase what, 5,000 every year?
Do we have to do that in the local law then?
Yeah, we'll have to put all this in local law.
We have to say what we're gonna do following?
We can't just make a new.
Otherwise, every year I'd have to come and do an amendment.
That's okay.
Well, let me ask you guys this, do you wanna just do the 20K amendment?
I think.
Or do you wanna program in 20 and continue?
I don't know what the impact is, so I think we do the 20 and we
How
just
many
really
are-
say
how
we'll
many
do a
are
long
under
range
20?
plan next year
Like-
because we can measure out the impact.
How many do you have that are currently under 20?
Do these two count in this list? Like, are these two in the village here?
1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, those
There
are
would be
separate.
But
four.
you have-
1,
you
2,
have-
3,
currently
4.
have 4.
Yeah,
We
there'd
have
be
4 if we do 20.
4, you're only
If we did
adding in
20.
2 people.
That has to be such the tiniest fraction.
I don't understand, yeah,
I mean, that
I don't even know how they do it.
the fraction of influence on how those 2 or 4 would come out of the whole thing, it just has to be such a small, like,
That
a
would be
couple
small.
pennies for
Mhm.
everybody.
I mean, going to 40, I mean, if you did 30 and then 35 and then 40, your impact would be very gentle. Cause even under 30, right now, we have
15 total properties.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Under
6,
30.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 under 30.
And that's 16 out of 940 in the village, 1,000 in the village, how many parcels?
About 1,000.
Yeah, the question isn't how many, the question is what's the value of those 16 houses?
As compared to the value of everything.
Yeah, that's the question.
I mean,
But
I
if
can
the
get
highest
that
Can-
number.
Can you get
Yeah,
that
Can
number
you get
for
that
us?
number? Yeah.
Okay. I think if we get that number, that's gonna help us quantify what this change means and will help guide this
And
decision.
if maybe if we did 30 and 25, look at the difference there.
Yes.
Do you know-
Okay.
What is the, do you know what the total valuation approximately of the village parcels is?
I would have to run a report
I
on
was-
that,
yeah.
yeah.
100 million or
We
50
looked at
million
it
or
today.
something?
Well, we'll need that because we'll need to see what the total valuation is and then take out these, right?
Well, yeah, I just have the total assessed value of all the ones that already have the exemption.
Okay.
So I didn't do the total assessed value of just the village.
Alright.
That's
Alright,
what you're asking, right?
yes.
Yeah, I was just curious, if it's the total value of all the parcels in the village,
Alright,
100
well-
million, and this is $50,000 changing all this stuff.
It's not.
We'll wait for that, wait for that data and that will help us decide 20, 25 or 30, is that what it sounds like?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, and then if we introduce it in a special meeting and move forward on it in February, that will work.
Yeah.
But if we tried to do it in March, that would not work.
March should be okay, cause I think that's when we did, our town local law was in March. Because my tentative role doesn't have to be locked in until June 1st. So
Oh.
March would be pushing it. Because
March-
I still have to process all those on the ones that you guys choose
Okay,
to allow in. So I
So-
still have to go through that whole list.
we could do it, but it would make your life terrible, is what you're
It'd
saying.
just be a little more not
Okay.
as terrible as a rebound, so.
Okay, alright,
It's just a little bit more work.
alright, okay. Any other questions for Tiffany? We have a plan moving forward, this is good, thank you Tiffany.
Any more information you want me to run in the next few weeks?
I think
If
that's
you think
it.
of something, just send it to me.
Okay, we'll do.
Perfect.
Alright, thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Why is that there? That's old,
Dig in
sorry.
deep, dig in deep.
Alright, people to be heard. You guys know the new rules. They're up here, we've seen them before. Would anyone like to speak to the board? Okay.
The one time we made people be heard, they waited an hour and a half to talk, until they hear.
So no one's here, everyone here has already spoken, so thank you, we're moving on.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, seriously. Alright,
Alright, guys.
good night,
Thank
thank
you.
you again. Reports, we're gonna zip through the reports, we don't have minutes to approve tonight, obviously, the recordings are online for those meetings, so if people have a burning desire to listen, you can do that, but we'll have the minutes next time. Please report.
So, the numbers are a little low, but the guy that does the numbers also retired, so we're missing about a week.
Huh, I wondered about that,
I did my best.
thank you,
Tried.
thank you.
But he has a little more access down there than I do,
Is there anything I can do to help with,
unless you work at dispatch.
I do not work at dispatch. It turns out I'm not looking for more work at this time.
With the new CAD system, we're looking at that being up and in place March 16th, I think is the date.
Oh,
So I should hopefully have a little more access to our reports.
okay.
The big issue is we are all waiting for our VPNs that we ordered. So until that comes in,
Is that for each vehicle?
no. So each municipality had to get the new VPN, which is exclusive to that company.
Okay,
Can't get any one.
of course,
Uh,
yeah,
It looks like any other VPN, but it's locked down by then, so.
Right.
They're hoping that they'll all be in by the end of this month,
okay,
because we have a training set for January 24th.
is this part of the delay?
No.
Okay, alright,
It's, the software that's being built is not only just taking over CAD is the problem. It's taking over CAD, it's taking over the report management system, it's taking
Oh,
over
wow.
evidence software, it's taking over ticketing, it's everything in the one software.
wow,
Because New York State is more or less sunsetting the Spectrum Justice System software that they were maintaining. They literally have one guy that oversees that, and if something happens to him,
Oh god.
there is nobody that knows how to work on that report system.
I have someone who works IT for one of the other departments in New York State. This is not a surprise to me. Yeah.
It's mind blowing. So,
Yeah.
like, literally everybody knows Norm, so if something happens to Norm, we're all like, so screwed. Did have a pretty substantial number of calls and arrests. The severity of them was a little more, that's why there's a little less activity. Severity was quite there. Couple of things we did have, there was a report that the gentleman that shot the police officer in Vermont was hiding in a house here in the village. So that was a collaborative task force between ourselves and the New York State Police. Search house, thankfully he was not there.
Of course.
We also had the major drug bust, which was done after I did my report.
Yep.
That was, our officers were actually very heavily involved with the investigation part of that. And the sheriff's office did the search warrant and the arrests. And we actually have 2 officers that are really good at that, so they've been doing a lot of that stuff.
Awesome.
And
Just as an aside on that, I was very glad to see Sheriff Borgo come out and just basically slam the fact that we have a repeat offender within a year, who once again was released on their own recognizance. Mind blowing.
I'm actually getting text already that the house is active again. She's
Yep.
in prison.
So
She is in prison?
luckily for us,
Right,
is
you
in
told me
prison
that.
for something completely unrelated to the 2 drug busts and felony charges that she's facing from both of those. I don't understand how that really, I don't understand it. I am
Yep.
just me alone as a guy from off to the side, just shaking my head and being so frustrated. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys in law enforcement to do all that work and just watch it be like, yeah, you're released. And I can't imagine all the people who have to be around that stuff. It's just insane. I'm sorry to interrupt, I'll step off my soapbox.
We get that house shut down,
And the neighbors.
It's gotta be,
because she rents it, she doesn't own it, I know the owner. It's her, I think it's her brother-in-law or something like that.
I know it's around property, but I don't know.
Has it been inspected recently on normal schedules?
January 2023.
Yeah, I got, they probably do again, but I got called in, like, the last time they raided it, I got called in then.
And there is no reason to shut things down.
Well, no, I had a whole list, but I had a whole list for previous inspection that I made him do, which he did do.
Okay.
Classic Street?
No. Fifth
Oh,
Street.
Fifth Street.
Fifth Street.
Right
Second
across-
one down.
right
Who's
across
the- Mark,
street
who's
from
the
Greg's
landlord?
house. He sees it all every day.
Oh, is that where he lives?
Yep, Greg lives right across the street.
Oh.
Yeah.
The owner of that is,
Yeah.
what was his name?
Anthony did it.
Anthony Dietrich.
Dietrich?
He lives on, Scott Street, up above all the water trees. On Scott Street on Clay Hill.
Well,
Wait, really?
the other place where the drugs are going on.
Yeah, a couple houses up from the other place where all the drugs are going on, yeah.
Well, I'm ready to smash my head into a wall. Anyway, keep going, please.
So vehicle-wise, our vehicles are Greg's best friend lately, and Ford's best friend. The one had to go to Ford to get fuel injectors replaced because it died. They revived it. Greg fixed the heater so well that it never shut off.
We have that in the shop still.
So he's got it again to try to make it so the heat shuts off.
Could be worse.
Well, yeah,
The whole window.
that's what the guys were doing. They're like, it just stays on now, so they're rolling the window down. So Greg has that, and he's got the part ordered.
Stuck on AC.
And then the cars are gonna start getting cycled through for oil changes. Greg's been very busy.
Yeah.
So they're gonna try to do the inspections and oil changes out to Gordon at the same time, because Greg cannot do inspections.
Okay, right.
We did find that at one point there was a firmware update on our cradle points, which actually deactivated all the license plate readers. Because it changed all the IP addresses in every single car. So that since has been fixed, and one of the brand new LPR units in the back of actually 502, which is the newest car, died, so the replacement's on order, because it's literally 3 months old.
I was gonna say it's under warranty, I assume.
Yeah, so Motorola actually, they sent a rep right here, and it died, so we ordered a replacement, and they'll get that fixed. Lots of administrative work, we're very heavy into accreditation, which is a lot of proofs, reading through reports, actually a lot of FOIL requests, and one of them is to try to find records from use of force from 2019 on, which is a task,
Yeah, but
lots of boxes. So, otherwise we're trying to get the station reorganized, try to get a new floor down, because there's a big hole in the floor. So, we're gonna try and get that moved forward.
Are we current on FOIL request?
I'm still in the middle of them.
Okay.
Elaine is still reviewing one. We got her some stuff, and then that's exactly when she started to get sick.
Okay.
So one of them's a video, and so I've got the one video, and Elena has the other one. She's still going through that one. She told me what to redact on the one. So it is 5 minutes and 18 seconds long, just normal play. It took me an hour and a half to redact it the other day, and I missed some stuff, so I had to redo it. So it takes me an hour and a half for literally 5 minutes.
All the stuff I know about video and video editing, and I can't fathom how long that redacting stuff takes. It's so frustrating, I'm sure. So
I did, we had one for training files and personnel records, we edited that one out, and just the training files alone was 395 pages.
yeah, I'm wondering if there are services out there that do those redactions for
It's
videos.
you can't do it with our, it's in our system.
Okay. All right. Just curious. Any other questions for Sergeant Hudson?
No.
Looking for a motion to approve the police report.
Motion?
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Brett. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed or abstentions? Great. Thank you, sir. Code enforcement.
Not much going on, almost I know, there's not a lot there, between the holidays and being out for a couple weeks from my hip.
59 Church Street, bench warrant issue? Is that old?
59 Church Street, that's the Chinese restaurant?
Oh, that's the one that's up for sale and keeps going lower. You guys see that?
Yo, did he make it a lot lower?
It's on Facebook, it keeps dropping.
What's he down to now?
Hey, geez. Did you have a
I will
cover
check.
sheet for
I
these?
think it's close to that.
They're not.
I think it's getting close to the price that he
Okay.
initially offered before he reneged it.
Do they still in
Let me
two separate
check.
ones?
There's two separate piles, yes, this pile and that pile.
I thought I had it saved. I'll keep looking for that
That's the
one.
one where, his father owned it, put in the daughter's name, the daughter was in Italy.
Yeah,
And I actually had the father in my office, but I couldn't do much because he's got the name.
Oh.
So, but he's the one trying to sell it.
But I thought he just, well, never mind. I thought he just put it in her name, you know.
it's 225 right now. It's 225. It was higher, but now he's got it for 225.
It was 150 originally.
225,
That's what he's asking,
And
yeah.
it's just a shell.
Yeah.
fire damage on the first floor.
Yeah, no, it's.
And
it's-
roof problems that we fixed and billed to him.
I mean, you'd have to easily double that if you did the work yourself.
That conversation with Mark will
You can get
Separate.
start making it.
How many apartments do you think you would fit in there? 4?
He has it listed as 6 beds, 6 baths, but who knows? Anyway. Any other questions for Mark on code report?
I'll make a motion to set.
Thank you, Doug. Need a second? Thank you, Deb.
Oh, sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstentions? Mark, I forgot to ask. It passed, by the way. 8 Troy Street,
It's for sale.
it's for sale.
What's that?
8 Troy Street. That was when the tree fell on home.
They
Yeah,
closed,
oh, yeah.
they
I
roofed
saw
over one of the dormers, and the other one is okay. You know the dormer that was
Yeah,
smashed?
they
Yep.
did it without a permit.
Oh.
Problems are,
So
Really?
he-
They've
So-
done some work to it, I guess, I haven't gone by there.
Yeah, I saw them working on
They
it.
I
actually
just saw
do
the
an
listing
inspection.
yesterday.
So you did see the listing.
I saw yesterday.
Cause you can see pictures and stuff of what they've done. It looks super weird. It's the weirdest layout. So they did all that work without a building permit. So that means you would have red tagged that,
It was red
I
tag.
believe it is red tag.
and they ignored it.
Oh, yeah, that's, yeah, they have, the
Shouldn't they be
owner-
fined or something?
Can you follow through on that?
Can you sell it? It's, because
They can sell it, at some point, probably a title search will be done, and if they do a title search,
Right,
then
the
I'll send
bank's
them all
gonna-
the violation.
but if you red tag something, doesn't that?
So when I red tag something, I have a policy, and it's, I don't know if it's not really a written policy, but it's my policy. If it's been red tagged, you are going to need to get a permit to go through, so that I know that the American code, and it's gonna require a seal before anybody can live.
That's what I was wondering.
But if they don't follow the rules, I mean, why would anybody follow the rules if
Well,
there's no
here-
consequences?
As he said, if someone goes to buy it and the bank does a search, they're gonna find,
They're gonna find it.
All of
They're
that.
still denying it.
and then that's gonna come up, and the buyer's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm out," because that's the real story.
It looks super weird
Do we
with
have-
the dormer missing.
I
It's
know,
very
Well,
weird.
you got the one that just came up on, Rogers Avenue.
yeah,
But they are disclosing on their listing, and this is without me being involved, that it has an apartment, that it's not a legal apartment in there.
They disclosed that.
They disclose it, cause I saw the Zoom listing, it's on the Zoom listing, so I opened up the case, I just did it yesterday, I opened up the file, and made a violation, and I tagged, the house this morning, and I sent the notice of violation to the realtor, and basically what I put in there, their corrective action is, they don't have a choice. They have to remove it, it's not clear in their listing, but they don't have a choice, they have to remove the kitchen, because it's illegal. So
Yeah.
the kitchen that's in the apartment,
Yeah.
because you cannot convert a one family into a multifamily in that area.
and anywhere in the village.
Are we still talking about Troy Street?
No,
This
Rogers
is
Avenue,
all
Rogers Avenue.
But what about if it's, like a mother-in-law or owner occupied thing?
So some people have tried, I mean, the mother-in-law thing you can almost get away with it, but it's still
Yourself.
But you shouldn't put a whole kitchen in there.
not with a kitchen.
My mother-in-law's moving.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the key part to
Shared
that, you know, dealing with, the assessor and I, with those Tony, we kinda came up with, the kitchen is the key. If somebody wants to go from a two-family to a one-family, I have to go inspect and confirm the kitchen has been removed, and then I send a letter to the assessor, and he changes the classification from a two-family to a one-family.
So going back to Troy Street, can we follow through and penalize them for obviously?
I can take a look at it and see what I can do, it's just one of those, it's just, I haven't followed up on it in a while.
Okay.
They want
I know you were
$290,000
out over holiday and glad to see you're coming back well. We'll do some pickup basketball in a couple months, okay?
I hope whoever spends $220,000.
Not anybody's problem, except mine, but you know what's going on with this, the house across the street from me?
They called me last week and said they're just about, had it all ready to go.
And they got all kinds of junk piled right in the yard there. I stare at it right from my window.
But yeah, so I got a complaint from another neighbor too.
Mattresses and.
I told them, I told the other neighbor, I said they will clean it off because I won't let them move back in until everything's done. Inside the house, everything else.
Alright.
Where's
You
that,
should
Deb?
pick a different window to look out of there.
Across the street from my house,
Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wall Street has some issues.
Alright. Well, we already approved the report, Mark, but thank you for answering our questions.
Yes.
Treasurer's report, Denise, anything you wanna highlight? Trustee wanna highlight anything?
Pretty well as stated, we did the sewer debt application published and the signed notarized affidavit to the controller, so we should have that certificate within 10 days.
Okay.
Which will exempt us from all of our sewer debt out of our, or from off of our constitutional debt limit, which will help us. Actually, the new project for UV, as soon as the publishing on the estoppel has expired, we'll put a new application in for that sewer debt as well.
Okay.
The 22-23 final financial report was submitted, finally.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. That's one enormous step
Part of the
forward.
relief, yeah.
And now we're on to the next one, and hoping that'll be month and a half.
Yeah.
A lot of the work I know that you did on that one will apply to this.
Right.
And also, we should put on the record, Laura Reynolds has been assisting like crazy and charging nothing, just doing it out of the goodness of her heart.
On the accounting?
Assisting, especially with trying to figure out all the weird QuickBooks stuff.
Okay, good.
And Laura was the mayor back when who got us started on QuickBooks. So I just wanted to put on the record that it's amazing that she's been able to help the village, and she's not asking for a thing.
She's cool.
That's pretty awesome. Excuse me.
I will be looking possibly at one of the special meetings in a week or two, possibly to do a revenue anticipation note for cash flow. We pretty much have collected most of our revenue for the December billing. So we might be looking to front some money from the April revenue expected to come in, which is allowed by law. We won't get our next big money in until we get our re-levy check from Rensselaer County, which typically is mid to late April. So I have a big big PFOA debt payment to make for about $60,000. We've got a lot of expenses coming up, so.
I noticed that this does happen every few months. Do we get behind somewhere? Do we need to budget differently to make this not happen, or this has just kind of always been the nature of the beast with
It
the way
is.
money comes in?
June to May to September were always great. November to March were always not.
Okay.
But going down the road, I'd like to have a few conversations as well, because we've been talking about trying to transition away from QuickBooks for accounting.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully going forward in the near future after this 23-24 report is filed, but even our water program, our software, evidently we have a really weird penalty structure.
Yeah.
Go figure.
Yeah.
But they don't like it at all. And it's become really problematic.
They being the state?
No, they being our software, Williamson Law.
Okay.
We do our, and it has made things complicated on how we've moved forward with other water software, because everywhere thinks that our structure is strange.
Okay.
So we might look to have a conversation on somehow revamping that, where we do one flat 10% if the bill is late and keep it that way till it gets re-levied.
Okay.
Instead of doing this incremental 1%, 1%, 1%, it just complicates things. And
Okay.
also, I've learned of late through our water people that do say an April billing and give 30 days to pay the bill, still turn around and re-levy it that year. Where we typically have given them 13 months to pay,
Yeah.
most people are not. They're,
Most people just go right to interesting.
which the state did not like. They didn't like that lapsing from one fiscal year to the other, and it would also help for cash flow as well, but. So those are just conversations down the road that we might wanna look at that would hopefully help us with ease of.
Isn't that how your village taxes work, Denise, when they're due, and then you have the late, and then at the end of the late, then they get re-levied right then? Don't the village taxes work like that? I think the town taxes work like that.
I'm talking water and sewer.
No, I know, but, so water and sewer is different than your regular tax by letting it go in the 13
The
months.
tax is okay, because it's one tax. So it's 5%, it's easy to put in another percent. We have 3 different billing periods for the water, so you've got a 5% going on for one period, and then it gets an additional 6, but at the same time, August is getting the initial 5.
So that's what makes it.
Yeah, it just is a nightmare. It's becoming a nightmare. It never used to be, and I really think it's kinda like maybe a glitch in their software as well. But
So are they saying that then you should automatically send it to the county after each quarter?
no, what they were suggesting is a lot of people, I said, well, what are the other municipality structures that you're seeing? And, he said off the top, once the bill is 30 days late, it's 10%. But they don't add any more until the re-levy date. So, if your August bill goes to September, it's 10% penalty due in September. and it's 10% penalty due until April, and we send it to the county. It doesn't keep adding increments on. But yeah, they were saying, you know, we have an April billing that we typically do not re-levy until the following May. And most places, and the people that they deal with do not do that. They do the net 30, put a thing on the bill that if it's not paid, it's re-levied in June. And the state didn't like that when they came in as well, because it's carrying revenue over from one fiscal year
Right.
to another. So it's just some conversations to look at and be had, but
On that, we need to do a corrective action plan.
Yes.
To the state report, and we
Yes.
have 90 days, I think, is that?
Thank you, I need to review the deadlines on that and make sure I'm moving on that.
we will also need to look at doing a borrowing for the, whatever the bids come in at the dehumidification.
Yes.
So,
More borrowing. But we also know that freeing up some of the money would be a great use of funds for that, or at least putting forward that, or at least using it to help budget the debt over
yeah,
time
we're
over that,
freeing
so.
money, it's getting,
Whenever it comes, alright. One other thing, we've noticed that Denise's email and Judy's email are
don't forget that.
older approach to email. Back from before my time as mayor, it was set up and we're having server problems there. She is not always getting emails, so if you guys are sending anything to Denise or Judy right now,
Did you ever
always
get
CC Olivia on
Did you ever
everything.
get what I sent you today? No.
We have a plan to fix this, both with the guy who has the server, who has been basically covering the expense of his own volition. But we're gonna update it, we're gonna get all of the Outlook stuff properly archived and accessible for Denise and Judy and get them on a new email address. So we're gonna be unloading a new email address that will probably be hfvillage.org in some form. That's gonna be in the next few days because at first we just thought it was weird attachments
Gotten worse.
for me, but now we're realizing it's affecting a lot of things, so that's coming as well. That's just kind of another random thing to know about. Any other questions for Denise? Looking for motion to approve the I don't know why I called that.
Treasury report?
There it is, treasurer's report,
I'll
sorry.
make that motion.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you, Brett. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye, opposed or abstentions? Anything you guys wanna highlight or ask about with the deputy clerk report? Olivia is, I think, starting to come in or start coming in casually.
about 2 days a week.
I met Little Nux.
What's
I
that?
got to meet Little Nux.
Did you?
Yes.
We haven't
Man.
met him yet.
I don't think I have.
He's
Let's
very
fix
little.
that. Well, honestly, not yet. I'm around too many germs.
Yeah.
But it's been nice that, I mean, even tonight I sent her an email, she sent me an email back, so she's always on and always checking, so it's pretty awesome. Unless you guys have any questions, I'm looking to approve the deputy clerk report.
Motion.
Thank you, Bobby. Deb, thank you,
Yep.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed or abstentions? Carries. Howie report. Bobby, anything you wanna highlight?
Kenny? Got anything, buddy?
Oh, yeah, a lot of stuff. Where do you wanna start?
Fire away.
Go ahead.
So, after I did the report, our newest dump truck broke down.
Oh, no.
So it's tore apart over the pit right now. It's, you know, it's a dump truck, it's a diesel. Without getting into too much, it's got a fuel delivery system that is not working. Greg is into it, he's into the motor, he found a bunch of metal in the fuel pump itself, which didn't pass through anything else. So it wouldn't start one day, and it doesn't keep running, so it doesn't, you know. So he's got that torn apart, so we're down the dump truck right now, so we've been down to our oldest dump truck. I would like to figure out how to get that excavator out to bid, so we can get rid of that and start moving forward on the new truck, because the longer we wait, the longer we're gonna have to wait. I mean, I was talking to, Allegiant Distilleries the other day, and they're looking at 1.5 to 2 years out now to order a truck.
Dump truck?
Yeah.
I mean, the town's going through the same thing, they've been, almost 2 years now before you've gotten your truck?
When is the bill come due? When it arrives?
What's that?
Is the bill for that come due when the truck arrives?
Yeah, you don't pay for it.
How about down payment, you have to make any?
You have to make a deposit.
I think you would have to if you're ordering it.
I don't think we did.
No,
We've been carrying over the number, I mean, we set aside 300,000.
No, you would have been able to. They just said.
Yeah, we've been setting aside, we've had to carry over the number for a couple of years now, because the length of time it's taken.
What's the delay on police cars ordering ordering police cars?
Depends on which car you get, some places have them.
Okay, so not as pressing as the 1 to 2 year wait.
So can we get that on order?
I think we're nuts not to pull the trigger on a new dump truck as fast as possible.
What
knowing-
we've
You
experienced,
could do it and plan it for the
Yeah.
second year if we have money.
What's that?
You could do it and plan it for the second year. But what about the SUV? I thought we already approved the,
What do we gotta do?
We did approve
I
to
have
have,
no
we
idea.
did approve to have it put out to bid, but we haven't
put it out.
come out with, we haven't done
We
it yet.
haven't had
Yeah.
a price.
I don't know how to do that.
Right.
Do we just need to post it online?
I would assume, I think that's an Elena question, you know.
I'll talk to Elena. We can at least put up on Facebook Marketplace and see what we get. I mean,
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
do
I
something.
think if we put a starting price at 90,000,
There's a municipal site, you just.
Yeah.
Go up and, it's going.
what's that? Can you send me the link to that municipal site?
I think that's the one Elena was talking about.
The
Well,
resolutions
they
that were
were-
done to get rid of it, to declare it.
Yeah,
Yes,
we've already
we already
done it.
agreed
It's
to
just,
it.
It's just
Yeah, that's
getting it
done.
out there. But I feel like was that the municipal site was the one that wouldn't come out?
They were the one that wouldn't come out and look at it, but, so the guy has been emailing me now pictures of stuff he wants me to buy. So, I mean, I can probably.
And he doesn't sell dump trucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they have dump trucks, but there's somebody else.
Can
that
you
sent
can you send me the link and his number?
Yeah.
I'll reach out. There's gotta be. I mean, just tell us what pictures to take. We'll get it to you for crying out loud.
And a few other things, you know, Greg's starting to do more work on the police cars. Greg's gonna be 70 years old this year,
It's not allowed.
so he's
It's
struggling.
not that old, by the way. I'm just saying.
So he's pretty much shape, but he would like us to look at purchasing a lift for him to do, because the police cars are obviously smaller, for him to get on the ground and stuff is hard for him. You know, I think we could get a decent lift for between 10 and 15,000 and have it mounted. Something big enough to pick up the pickups in the police car so he can get under them, you know, do brakes and stuff. Right now, he can't get down to do the brakes, you know, and stuff like that. I think
Kenny, is there money in the budget, you know, to do that?
I didn't budget for it this year, no, but I mean,
We had tried to build that into the new highway garage, but everything was so over budget that it
Yeah.
got yanked out. I assume it would go here, right?
no, we put it over there.
You would put it over
Yeah,
there.
that's where all his tools, that's his shop, he's got his own, all of his own, he's got $100,000 worth of tools over there.
Can a lift
Computer.
handle like SUV style police vehicles?
Yes, yep, if we got one big enough to do our pickups,
you
it would
gotta
definitely be
have
able
a
to
spare
handle
one.
those.
Can you-
Borrow the money?
I don't think we have
We
much of
might have
anything.
unspent
Yeah.
money in other areas, I think.
What's that?
We might have unspent money in other areas that we can look.
Yeah, cause the amount of money we're saving with,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, and, yeah,
When you said it was gonna be 70, I was
we were
I was
talking
thinking
the
he was
other
gonna
day,
wanna retire.
and
No, he just wants a lift.
Greg still,
I
Greg
thought
still knows a
They
bunch
all
of
want
guys
to
up at
do
Allegiance. They're charging
Like,
$150
doesn't
an
want
hour
to do
for
what they
doing
want
dump
done.
equipment at Allegiance.
Wow.
We're getting Greg for what, $20 an hour?
It's
21
nothing.
bucks an hour?
Yeah.
So, I
Sure.
mean, he's super smart, and then the other thing is I talked to Denise today, he needs to get, so he's doing the wiring right now on, I think it's 505. There's something wrong with the wiring for the heater, but he wants to be able to download a schematics program, and it's like $10, and he can download it, and what he'll do is he'll just print out, and so it's a monthly fee, but he wants to just do it one time, and he'll download the schematics to every vehicle that we have and print them out, so he has them, and then we'll just cancel it after a month.
And we're saying that out loud.
I like it.
Okay.
That works.
So, but he needs a credit card of some sort to do that.
Oh.
Yeah, in the past, he's used his own credit card, but he expressed that he's not comfortable doing that,
Okay.
so.
Get me the information on that. I'll make that happen pretty fast.
So what about the lift?
I'd love to see quotes on a lift.
Yeah, and I'll have him, he's been looking at lifts too, I mean, there's several, there's a portable one that's rated big enough, you know, it's on like steel wheels, you can roll it, you can move it out of the way, stuff like that.
I think you should find what features and stuff he wants and then just get 3 bids. And
Yeah.
we'll go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, normally if it's something that we know Ford's gonna have to do it, it goes to Ford, but.
Yeah. But I mean, he's I think he's like Ford certified, I think he's Chevy certified, I mean, he's been a
Well,
mechanic.
he's not warranted Ford
Well, not warranty,
Right,
but I mean,
right,
but, yeah,
alright.
but like the small stuff, like the brakes, the oil changes, you know,
Yeah, that's
trying to figure out the heater.
Yeah, I think we're nuts not to pull the trigger on the dump truck as soon as possible, so let's add that to the hopeful special meeting next week thing, to make that order and get that started right now. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, do you have bid specs?
I say.
I do.
Okay.
That's our special meeting. Yep.
We haven't decided one yet, but we have a couple things that we know, we're gonna wanna hire the laborer as soon as we can, so at minimum it's late, what's that?
Do we have any applicants?
We have one,
We haven't posted it yet.
we posted it, but we know we have
I
one
didn't think
interested, no, we're just, I'm
You missed it,
posting
that was in the
after
first part of the meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
alright, any other things, Kenny?
No.
Looking for motion to approve the highway report?
Motion?
Deb?
Second?
Bobby second,
Oh.
all in favor?
Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions?
Speak out of turn.
Yes, Kenny?
I just wanna set a date for, the Christmas tree pickup next Friday, we're gonna be done with it, I mean, we go out and drive around the whole village for one tree every day.
Is it still really hot, like, people are
Yeah,
still doing
there's a
it?
pile of them out there, yeah.
I didn't know it was still going up.
Yeah,
Never heard of Little Christmas?
Yeah, we've been burning, but then someone called me the other day and said they want them for their Beagle Club, so they've been coming down and taking a pickup truckload a day and. So
And they're what called?
Well, they
Eagle.
Beagle,
Well,
they
Goats.
they train
Yeah.
their dogs, they
You
set them
go-
up and they run rabbits through them and train
right.
their dogs.
Fantastic, great.
So they've been taking them, what they haven't taken, we burned them a couple times.
Can they come down and pick them up on the street for you?
Alright. Alright, sewer department report, anything you wanna note?
No,
Everything's flowing good.
everything's flowing.
We'd like to hear that.
Money
alright.
flowing in.
Yep. Looking for a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Carries. Water departments reports. Nothing really new except the whole idea of what we want to do about offering the possibility of the lead test and tying it into, I think we were all in favor of that, it's more of a procedural, how do we do that, and that's an Elena question, she's not here. Denise, did you ever find out if it's easy to put on a $30 discount on the water bill? So if people do the lead test and they give us the details we need, they would foot the bill for the $30 lead test, we would take $30 off the next water bill.
I did not look
Can
into
you,
that.
can you look into that? Alright, thank you. I feel
Great
that,
concept, it's a great concept, people will understand that and
yep, and it's, you pay up front, you give us the info, we reimburse you properly, that's super easy. Alright, so I'll follow up on that with Denise. Anything else in the water? Oh, the repairs to the balance tank have been postponed again, so it's, at this point, it's just like a running commentary joke that they're gonna, this was the one they have to take off the roof and go in and spend days, but it's been delayed again, so who knows when it'll ever be done. There's no date, right? Or is there a date?
I haven't heard.
Okay, it's just it's a running joke at this point, but whatever.
Oh, Kenny, I had one question for you about
Sure.
the the water leak we had by the sandbar.
Yep.
When do we are gonna patch that up? I know we can't get anything right now, right?
So I'm, when it gets warmer a little bit, we're gonna go down and scratch the top off, we're just gonna have to put some coal patch in there.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Where was that?
Down on, well, Lyman, I don't know,
So Christmas Eve,
yeah,
it was 2 below 0, and we spent the whole day down there. Macias again just showed up and started helping us, Cat.
I love him,
I do too, he's amazing.
yeah.
And, you know, it took us 8 hours, I mean, we were down there, it was a 6-inch water main that was actually broken, it
Oh,
was right down the side.
well, it's one that started, it broke the day of their Christmas party.
Is that the new infrastructure?
It's fairly new, I tried to remember, I couldn't remember if we replaced that when we did the whole Lyman Street thing, but
Well, it's water, not
it's
sewer.
water, but still, we did replace some water lines and stuff when we did that project, some water lines had to be moved, rerouted.
Okay,
I don't, it looked fairly new, the pipe looked fairly new,
yeah,
but
that's
I mean,
surprise.
you know, as we stand there, you know, when the train goes by, you can feel that ground just shake.
Oh, yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
With it being that cold that day, you know, like I said, it broke Monday, we dug it Tuesday, the day before Christmas. And
Oy, oy, oy.
it was a nightmare, it wasn't pleasant. between everything freezing up
Oh,
and
there's
ice.
week of the 20th.
So,
Balance tank is pushed back to the week of the 20th, but I'm sure they'll be late again.
I
Alright,
was just curious about that, Kenny, I knew that, I
Yeah,
just drove
yeah,
by
we
the
got-
other
we
day,
gotta
I
get
saw
down
the
there and
cones
just-
there still, that's all.
yeah, and I can move the cones, I've asked her if she
No,
wanted me,
no.
I've asked her, and she's like, no, that's fine.
No, I was just asking, 'cause I know I talked to her too, no, I wanted to make sure, that's all.
So the reason for the cones being there, so no one drove on it
Sure,
when we filled it in that day, because it was so wet, I didn't want anybody to sink.
yep,
But it's frozen now, like I said, when it warms up a little bit, we're gonna scratch the top off and put some cold patch on there, so it's a little more presentable.
Alright.
Of course, it's right in front of their sidewalk to walk into the sand.
yeah, it was crazy, Josh had to put his arm underneath the sidewalk to figure out where the hell the water was
Yeah.
coming from, the water was just bubbling out of the sidewalk.
Yeah, we thought it was coming from
Inside,
sand,
inside the
yeah,
sandbar.
ended up being in the street, but it was coming up in the sandbar through their sand.
Took us a long time to find it.
gosh,
Yeah.
alright, well, thank you guys. Water report, need a motion to approve the water department report?
Second.
Thank you, someone, whoever,
No,
Brett and Bobby. All in favor? Aye, opposed or abstentions? Carries, fantastic, we are on to trustee committee reports, we'll just go down the line, Bobby, you have anything?
The only thing I have is about the RTE, about the streetlight. There's, I received an email today because the globes, okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Alright, electrical contractor has been on site and determined that the tenon adapters will indeed be required for the 50 post top acorn on the concrete poles owned by the village. So there are also 6 time clocks controlling these post tops. These time clocks must be removed from the existing lighting circuits in order to allow the new smart controls to work as intended. You can't have 2 control systems on
Right.
one lighting circuit, as they will fight each other for control.
Right.
So there's an additional, he sent an Excel, change order
Yep,
with increasing the cost from, it was one, the total cost was.
do you email this to me?
Yeah, I did.
Let me throw this up on the board, on the board, oh my gosh.
The initial cost before was 142.65, and it went up to 149.77.70. It's an increase of like $7,700 is what the cost of the change.
$7,700?
$7,700 roughly. It's 77.05. I have the invoice right there.
Okay, so
You have everything in there.
in reality, it would make sense to have a motion to authorize the mayor to
Just
sign
get
the
May
change
to
order.
sign the revised contract, yes.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion that would authorize the mayor to sign, okay, Doug and then Bobby.
Yep.
This is the second, further discussion on this? All in favor? Aye, opposed or abstentions? Great, thank you guys, carries. Alright, Brett,
Nada.
Deb, very,
Um,
very efficient, you get the award.
nothing big, I found out via Facebook that, they moved the poll finally for Stewart's. The guy
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been talking to back and
Yes.
forth and back and forth, did he call me and tell me? No, I found out from
Yeah, I got
Ray
it.
Irick.
You haven't heard any complaints about that? Cause I moved it right where that one neighbors on the curb cut.
But he was supposed to call me, so I just found out just now, when I was looking on the phone.
They did last week.
Yeah.
Yes,
They ran
And
the
the-
main power
And she hasn't called me
line.
either, so.
I was waiting for her to complain, cause it's, no, she,
I'll-
that's not
I'll
a driveway,
contact
but
her.
she wanted a curb cut and they were requesting it, they put it right in the middle.
Are we talking about the pole that's just to the left of the face of the building?
yeah.
The one-
I think it was still there yesterday.
No, on the sidewalk, on the sidewalk.
The one right
Oh.
next to- Dan's talking, there is literally a pole right next to the building that makes absolutely
It's
no
just-
Stewart's
sense.
building?
Yeah, you guys have, it's literally like the building is like, this is like a pole coming out of the sidewalk
There's literally
in the front of the building.
residential pole right in the parking lot.
That's the pole that I thought was the problem.
No, the problem was
No, it
one
was
is
the one in the
the
driveway.
driveway entrance, the one that
But
had
just
3
the driveway,
transformers
that's not really a
on it.
Yeah, I
driveway.
saw them out there
Which they
working
really
on it, I'm
should've
like, why are they
just
working
made
on
an
that, the
arrow
pole's back there, I
that
thought
was an
it,
exit only.
it's
You
very
had to
strange,
enter
it's like,
from
it's
the
like sticking
side.
it, but take a look, it's right in the front.
It doesn't look like it's a very.
Speaking of
No,
Stewart's,
it-
do you,
it's
oh,
very
That's the
you
one
can
with all
give
that
that to
stuff
the,
on the top of
can you
it?
scan that? Yeah, Denise can scan
Oh,
that.
alright,
It's right next to the building.
I do have an update on that,
It comes out of the sidewalk.
Should've-
Oh, from Tom's, or
yes.
Billy people, or Tommy Bugat's complaint?
Yeah.
Do you want me to scan this to you or to Alexis or who?
Yeah, you can scan it and send it to me, I forwarded that, well, I forwarded the email to you, but you didn't get it.
I think I can send out with attachments, right, Rob?
What's that?
I can send you
Yes.
attachments,
Nobody interrupted.
I just can't get them.
So what happened with that?
Just so you know, I'm saying,
Anyway,
it's so.
Is this
What
with
happened
Tom?
with that in the dumpster, yeah?
No, I don't know, that's what I'm asking Rob.
I've just been talking to Tom, cause I reached out to him yesterday. He just sent me like about an hour or 3 hours ago. They actually reached an agreement with Stewart's earlier this afternoon, so they're all set.
Good.
He had been going
Wait, who
back
did?
and
The
forth
person who
with
came
them.
here last week,
Tom
last
Peabody,
Tom
who came in with
I
about
can't
the,
understand you.
Tom Peabody, the young guy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so they fixed things up for him?
Yeah, I did an
Yep.
inspection today, and Tom came at the same time I did, and they told me what they were proposing, so.
Okay, and everybody's, they're happy,
He
everybody's
seemed,
happy?
he seemed like, yeah, I think, I didn't stay for them to finish their discussions, but they told me what they wanted, what they were proposing to do, so.
Okay, and you haven't heard from Samantha? The next door neighbor, the blue house?
I never heard from her.
See, I usually hear from her and she didn't call me or anything.
alright.
Cause I did
I'll
call
contact her
Chuck,
tomorrow.
I did call Chuck Thomas the very next day after
Chuck
the.
Thomas or Chuck Marshall?
Chuck,
Marshall.
is it Chuck Marshall, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
I-
two sides, there's a.
I did
He's becoming
too.
DPW chair, department head, Saratoga Springs.
Oh, Chuck is?
Yep, that just came out last week.
Yeah, well, I called him and I was actually driving to Boston, I called the next day and he called me back, I was on the way to Boston. He said he was gonna meet with the field manager and take care of it, so I'm glad he did,
He was there today.
good.
Good.
Well,
So-
they're starting to move on Tuesday. They're gonna start moving
They're
stuff
gonna
in there.
run without, they're gonna be running on their generator, they don't have power to the
Yeah.
building yet.
Oh my God.
So that was the other thing, they're gonna move the generator was parked today toward Tom's house. They're gonna move it down to the other end of the building.
Oh, good.
Cause I
So
went
there
in
will be
to
an
check
opening
the
probably
dumpster
second
out.
week of February, I think.
Dave told me they were shooting for the 21st, but it sounds like 21st isn't gonna happen now.
I was
Well, they
told,
should-
I was told to move stuff in and they need a good week to 10 days, about systems to work, probably related to.
22nd, I think I have written down, they told me 20.
The girls in the
Yeah,
store.
Tuesday.
We're gonna start a bet on Balance Tank versus Stewart's opening, just to see who wins.
But what's his name is still, I can't think of his name, Jason?
No, yeah, now Morgan's fiance is gonna be the assistant manager,
Oh,
they'll
is she?
go in next week.
Oh.
So Aaron
Where's she
Brzezinski
gonna
was
be?
the one that
Well, they're
caught
starting
that
to
pole.
move.
Here?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Aaron what?
Aaron was the one that caught that pole issue before they even started the project.
Yeah,
In the plans, he caught when we were going over the plans at the planning board meeting one night, he said, I think National Grid just put a pole, the new pole right in the middle of your driveway.
Huh.
And Chuck ended up going and checking the next day, and sure enough, Aaron had called it right.
Yeah, then they put the
And then they-
transformers on it,
Yeah.
and then they moved the transformers.
Right, so now they're working with the railroad to try and get a spot to put the dumpster. And I said, well, you know all about working with the railroads, and we're working with like National Grid.
Yeah.
It'd be about the same
I was gonna
thing.
say, working with the rail,
So
boy,
much
talk about
worse.
getting frustrated.
That's, their power is from the building to the pole, but now they're waiting for the grid to do the service connect. It's sitting,
my gosh.
crashed up.
Wow, alright.
They're getting there though.
No? Deb, anything else?
Yeah, I just,
All that time was charged to you, by the way, just in case
Whatever.
I missed the fact.
the only woman in the room, the only one who got interrupted, that's okay, happens every time.
I'm hungry. Wrap it up.
Motion to adjourn, Kenny?
Yes, please.
If you wanna throw stuff at them, I would be totally
No,
fine with
that's
it.
not mine.
Anyway, sorry, Deb, go for it.
Yeah, you can throw
Okay,
Katie.
and the other two things have nothing to do with anything, well, they do, but, I just wanna say that every time I get in my car and turn on the radio, I hear about another community that's changing their speed limit
Oh,
from
God, I heard
30 to
about this
25.
too, I know.
Just saying,
I heard it, and I thought about you, Deb, as soon as I heard it.
Thank
just
you,
saying,
Deb.
My wife gets clocked 4 to 5 times a month in Albany, at 30, now they do it at 25. So I'm
Wow.
at a $50 fine, $75 fine.
So you can't figure out what's causing it?
There she is.
that's why he
You know,
let
He
the
knows
deer
the
hit his car,
treasure,
that's
the
why he
treasure.
let the deer hit the
It's
car.
like,
Gotcha.
it's like, I think it's ridiculous.
Alright.
She
I
needs a
go by
governor
there
on her
every
car.
Noted, Deb.
And the other one is just very personal, if anybody comes upon a wedding ring with a couple
Oh,
of
you
tiny little
find
diamonds
it?
in it, it's mine.
Oh,
Oh,
Where'd you
I
lose
was
it?
hoping you'd found it.
Where do you think you lost it?
John Street, you said.
I was at the shop I didn't notice until I got home,
Oh.
but I'd been at the shop all day, so I walked Ruskin a couple times, I walked out to the parking lot to get my car, I walked through the alley, it was snowing that day. if a plow pops it up, a little tiny thing like this and you see it, let me know.
How did it pop up?
Thank you.
Was it loose?
Yeah, it's loose. Because
so
it was
sorry,
so cold that
Deb.
day.
So
and I had
sorry,
gloves
Deb.
on, I don't wear gloves.
Alright,
Anyway, that's all.
alright, thank you,
I'll
Deb.
be walking, looking down from now
Doug?
on.
You know, I'm getting a real stiff neck.
Just an idea here, when we were looking at the senior services building, there was a concept of the town and village court perhaps sharing court space. We're tight on space, as particularly at the village hall, and I'm wondering about the possibility of moving court, making an arrangement with the town and Hoosick Rising of sharing court space at Armory.
Who's rising to the armory?
Well, they did part, yeah, but town rent space, so.
From the
town-
armory, not from who's rising.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's a separate board.
But anyway, I'm wondering
They're
about
both Mary Ann, but.
that idea
Otherwise,
of freeing up that space by moving the court into the armory, and
So,
having some arrangement.
Exploring the idea of a long-term commitment to moving the village court over to the armory where the town court also meets.
Right.
Be a shared services thing, I think, and as long as the judges are good with it.
It opened up
It's the
our
same
space,
judges.
it solves our space issue tremendously.
I think that's a really, really good idea. I like that a lot, and for the community and for the village office having to field questions about the court that isn't at their court.
Oh,
Oh my gosh. I think that's a great thing to look into. That's a fantastic idea.
it's a win-win for both, and we have the same, exact same
It's
judges.
good
It's-
optics in the community too,
Yeah.
because they, you know.
Does that
They-
include
It's
like
taken
moving
down.
all the records?
Hmm?
Does that include moving all the records
I
for
don't know.
court?
That's what we have to look at, because Jan has an office that she uses, you know, and so the clerk position kind of becomes, you know, that
Yep.
would become something we'd have to deal with,
Managing, yeah.
you know.
Have you talked to the court yet?
No,
I
asked
just-
Mark about it.
I always think if it's a good idea and it's just logistics that makes it not work, make the logistics work.
He can make, you know, because
Yeah.
logistics help where we are.
Exactly.
I don't know,
I love the idea, I love
Best
looking
position to
into
talk
it.
to the judge.
It's a little more work and it maybe a little more money, but it solves a lot of problems.
Cause I didn't think about what he said, you gotta talk to Holly and Jan because of records.
Storage, records management
They
for.
each have to have separate files.
Yeah.
I would assume that they're not gonna have the storage space over there, or they're gonna have to have like
I
a
don't have it either.
shifting, sorting, like they're gonna have to still store stuff at the village hall.
Holly's got boxes on top of boxes. and
Which
then-
is okay, I mean,
Well, maybe if we reuse that space, part of that becomes a storage spot.
Can any of those records be electronically,
No.
made electronic? I mean, it is 2025.
It's all court dictated.
Hey, I don't know if
court
I don't know
mandated.
if court documents can, that's the only thing.
But I think it's a good idea though, I mean,
Oh, it's a great concept.
sorry,
I-
obviously it's set up for a courtroom, it's the same
Sounds like the beginning of
judges.
a really good discussion.
I like it.
so,
But if I, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just wondering where we go from here, we'll discuss this a lot later.
I think we need to sit down with court first and find out
Judges,
their
the
thoughts
clerks,
and
Right.
logistically what their needs would be, and that will help kind of guide
And
this
I would,
next
I would suggest that
conversation.
you not just ask the judges, I suggest you ask colleagues,
Oh,
because
absolutely,
they know
judges
way
and
more.
Holly.
Yeah, you ask Holly and Jan, and then they can go to OCA, and we'll say yay or nay.
Yeah. I would assume there's a process with
Ultimately,
the court.
it's not the judge or
Decision.
Holly.
There's not, their
It's
final say,
OCA
for sure.
Has the final say.
Okay.
Okay.
And another question that would be in that discussion is if she's doing court hours, where is she gonna do it? Would it be at the new location, would it be a village hall? That will
Keep all
also,
court things should, if it be in one space, I think.
ideally, but if there's no storage space over there for the village court records, it causes problems and questions.
Well, let's start to talk to each
To
other.
be honest with you,
Well,
if
I
you
would
can't do
assume
that,
like
then
if
you
you're
might as well
doing
not
your,
even move it.
your court clerk duties, you would need
Honestly.
access to the records, and you wouldn't want them in a separate building, which is kind of like.
Yeah.
I don't know what
So you wanna do everything.
Okay,
We'd have to look at it.
I'll pursue
It's
it.
worth talking.
Thank you, that's a great idea, I love it.
If I could just interrupt all the men.
Like you always do.
Speaking of needing more space, talk to my husband, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Talk about needing more space, and I know we've been looking at the old, senior center. Do we know anything of what's going on there? Because if we're not gonna take it, you know what it would be really, really good for, if we could convince them to come here? And I know they've been thinking about it for years and years and years, is a satellite, Hudson Valley Community College place there. boy, would that be good for the village.
All
That'd be
ideas
dynamite.
are great, it's just, it's not our spot to make decisions on, all we can do is suggest / prod,
Well, we can advocate.
certainly can.
There has been a complaint about the driveway not being plowed by Cal at the Chinese restaurant, because county waste is saying they can't turn around when it's icy and bad there.
Yeah.
And they'll refuse to pick it up, they tell them they're gonna refuse to pick it up if they can't back up that area.
I did see Steve McLaughlin is apparently, thinks he's gonna be the next director or the president of HVCC or that was on the news today.
Oh, that means he's not getting LC's job.
Well, I thought we were gonna get rid of.
Well, that was, he was in consideration for that, then it said he's now thinking about running Hudson Valley.
Yeah, oh jeez.
Was he term limited for
Huh?
Minnesota County?
And
Or we're just gonna run him out of town?
done being big boss or whatever he does.
No.
He's another grift.
Well,
I didn't say it.
interesting,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did.
Deb, I would also bring that up to Superintendent Hoosick Falls, Pat Daly.
Oh, okay.
He loves Hudson Valley and ideas like that, and he would be someone who would take that and run with it, if they could manage it, so I'd bring it
And
to Pat.
do the kids at the school, do they take college, Hudson Valley College level
There's some
courses
Hudson Valley
in high
classes
school?
offered, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, but
That
still,
would
that'd be pretty neat.
yeah, that would help with that. Alright, I'll
Yep.
call Pat.
Alright,
Good idea, thank you.
So historically, we never plowed down between the Chinese food place and the Murphy building because it was always contracted out, the county always took care of it, we were told years ago not to touch it, it's not our property. I haven't been plowing it in the last couple storms, if you guys would like me to start plowing it.
I would like you to start plowing it, I don't wanna get in a pissing match over like
Right,
a
that's
100-foot
why-
long pavement thing, that's
Yeah.
not where I.
liability issue there, since that's county property and?
That's what I was questioning, I don't know if we break a truck there or something, you know, or one of my guys gets out and I don't know,
Life is so
I know it's
Just
county.
don't hit the building.
But we plow the parking lot across the street, which I believe is partially
County.
county owned.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
it
right.
is, it is
Yeah,
county.
please just add that to the,
Okay.
yeah,
It's a
right.
loop, for sure,
That
Yeah.
solves that.
Yeah, thank you.
cause we don't want a business being subject to that.
Nor do we
Yeah.
want a bunch of garbage all over the
No.
place.
No.
Yeah,
And if anyone has ever gone down there on a Wednesday during the summer to do DMV and smelled that dumpster, you don't need to sit there.
Yep.
Trust me,
Yep,
that thing stinks.
Dan, anything?
No, there's a couple little things, one ironically, the Office of Court Administration is like 20 feet from my office, same building right directly.
Plant
across
those
all of it.
seeds, tell them how great an idea is
Talk to
coming
those
from
guys
village,
all the time.
town of Hoosick.
Quite interesting. No, I talked to, Josh and Jim,
Yep.
thank you, about the lead testing. I mean, the only thing is, you do the lead testing, you pop up with lead, where's it coming from? Because a lot, and a lot of these houses have copper lines, they use 50/50 solder. What did they stop using 50/50 solder just 15 years ago or something?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you're gonna have, there's 50% lead, 50% tin, so you get a lead, positive lead reading, somewhere in the water system is lead. What does that mean? I mean, you don't know outside.
Yeah, I
No
mean-
way for those guys to know, till they're dug, they all gotta be dug.
In my past, as I was a plumber in my previous life, we used lead solder on everything.
50/50, right? Then, yeah, I mean, so you're gonna, and that solder gets into the joint where the water passes by, so,
I mean, this,
it could create a lot of questions that we're just not, the answer's gonna be, I don't know. Where do you think the lead is? I don't know. What can I do about it? Call a plumber.
yeah,
We'll dig the outside, but if you're still testing positive, you probably have copper
even
lines.
that, we wouldn't do much to the outside, we would just go to the main, to the, because once that you're off the main, it's the owners.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think I was up at the water plant in Amsterdam this week, and I actually think we're in a better position than some. I was talking to those guys about municipalities, and they can only positively identify non-lead lines in like 3 streets in the city of Amsterdam that will be done.
Holy
Amsterdam,
crap.
they redid in front of the fire department, they've made the 2 lanes, other than that, they're digging 5 times as many places as we are.
Yeah.
It's just like, the guys,
Yep.
every one of them is pursuing lead in this city. So, I guess we're kind of fortunate in that.
Alright,
But we do need, if we are gonna do the lead testing, we do need to prepare people for the fact that we're not gonna have an answer for them where the lead is.
yep. Yeah.
Somewhere between the street and your faucet.
Right, Right.
Yeah, it boils down to it.
Yeah,
And that's
you
where
could
it's
have
gonna
a
be.
lead. You could have an old faucet that was soldered on, who knows, if there's anything.
Alright. We gotta throw out trustee committee reports. Old business stuff, I don't think we have anything to add to the capital projects priority list, except I'm gonna kinda bring it up for our next meeting, just because we've been talking about other things and some other big expenses coming.
Is that something that we can think about over 3 years, like what would we have to buy this year?
Oh,
Versus what
absolutely.
could be 2 years, so we could stagger it reasonably
Yes.
so?
Like
We
a,
can-
like a major investment, like a truck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or if we
exactly,
know it's
yeah.
gonna be in next year's
Mhm.
budget,
Yeah,
and something
Which
else
plus-
could be in a 2-year, 3-year, way we start
Sure.
doing that planning.
I think I'd like to review that with each department, and I think we'll also add that layer of it. Let's see where we want those purchases to be
Because
done.
that gives you an opportunity to look at what you might do with the other money, including
Yep.
cash flow.
Well, I was gonna,
bless you.
for, not a wish list, but, we still have on the books a lot of outstanding invoices to Saint Cobain, from Saint Cobain for massive lawyer fees. It's still sitting there.
Is that
We've got a
the
lot of-
settlement ones?
It's for our legal costs that have been incurred ever since PFOA occurred. And many other parts that they didn't make us whole on.
Because they won't reimburse on attorney
Right,
fees.
so we have a lot of money tied up and sitting that could really help us out,
How much are we talking about?
probably at least $500,000.
Really?
For lost revenue, for legal fees, it's
And they do all that
various.
to us? There's an agreement?
Well, there's a lot of different things there, like the lost revenue, we brought up to them, we did an agreement with them. A small percentage of that went to the attorneys who helped us with the agreement, so in a sense, we made some up, some of that would be lost, it would never fully be made whole. On something like that specifically.
I'm not talking about like when we receive a settlement, I'm talking about,
Like, we used to have a lot of revenue from them and then they changed their.
right,
their
and then
approaches and
because of,
dropped.
because of the PFOA, people stopped using water for
Yep.
a good chunk of time, which
Yep.
affected the sewer rents, which
Yep.
affected the revenues.
So it's a loss, it's not money they owe us, it's loss.
Well,
It could
we
be
invoice
argued.
the companies for those losses in hopes of getting them back and never did.
And
So it's just something to consider that.
Yep.
And also the older water rents that we're not able to recoup that were outside the village. They're
We kinda
no
wanna get
longer-
that off the books.
absolutely.
So those are just two other options that
Yep.
isn't really a fun way to spend the money.
No, but it's
Well,
if it's right and
Look,
responsible.
if you looked at it, like the water, it's a paper issue, you could take that money, move it to pay off those bills, it's in our budget, we can use that money a different way. So there's a way, if we can
Yes.
get it moved, get it off, and still have the money.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Cause it's all an internal.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like maybe keeping some aside for cash flow, we talked about the possibility of setting a separate one aside for when it's time, we need to take down an unsafe structure, we know we're gonna take on the expense, you set it in there. Wait for the reimbursement, all that stuff. Are all really good, important ideas. Yeah, alright. I think we covered our swam, is there anything else we need to address with that? Okay, this is just old business stuff. We talked about that already with Tiffany, and we've talked about the lead service line. We've already been through the new business, because we did this, so I don't have anything else. Does anybody have a burning need to move into executive session?
I just have a quick question on the executive session.
We can certainly do that if you want. Is this related to potential future hirings, or, okay. Anything else in the executive session?
I have one thing.
Similar
Yeah.
okay, so I'm looking for motion to enter executive session, to discuss specifically potential future hiring decisions with no business to be conducted at the end of executive session. Bobby,
Move.
Brett, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed or abstentions? Alright, it carries, we are moving into executive session at 8:28 PM, thank you.
Did you start a new semester at school?